Stop it! Stop it, Susie!
So welcome live this Halloween night to the first ever TV GhostWatch.
Get off me! Mike! Oh, what's happened?
Round and round the garden. Like a teddy bear.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 283 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live and direct with the Mexicans, also known as JP, Mr. Saucedo, also known as Tyler, and featuring Mr. Freemason. And I'll be your host from the foreign land of Canada, the toxic offender, Moodz. Yeah. What's going on, dudes?
What up?
Scoreboard watching.
We missed a week.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
Nah, well, we're back, though. We're back. We're back in effect.
Whose fault was it this time?
The Bills.
Tyler's?
No, it wasn't my fault.
It was it was football's fault. And actually, I don't even want to remember that Sunday. So let's not even talk about that shit.
Yeah. So we moved it from Sunday to Monday because of football. Oh, dude, I haven't talked to you since that.
Yeah,
so it was your fault, actually.
So we actually did. We were supposed to record the next day on the Monday, but it was actually shit got all fucked up, and I would have been.
That was you. Yeah, you fucked that up.
Oh man, I wasn't even done work until I was in overtime. We were so fucking slammed.
And you asked about Tuesday, but my coworker was on vacation, so I was doing the evening shift.
Right. So yeah.
But how do you feel? Are you licking your wounds still?
Dude, it's just been one of those weeks where it's like everyone's like kept coming up to me and being like, "Oh man, I feel so bad for you. Like that was rough." And the conversation was what it was. It was like everyone was expecting, some of the reffing to be a little bit suspect. These calls that just weren't called or this and that. And fucking, it's funny. The more and more you think about it and you analyze what really went down in that game, you're like, man, did the Bills ever get fucked in that game? That's crazy.
I don't think it was as bad as you probably do.
Obviously,
I expected it to be like bad. Like we talked about it before the game,
but there was a couple plays that really did kind of define where the game went.
I don't know. Like I didn't really see anything egregious for me.
Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a good game for the most part and stuff. And it's just it came up short
at the end of the day, bro. Whoever that receiver was who didn't catch the ball, that's on him, man.
Yeah, that was that only call that really bothered me.
That was a little suspect. That was pretty suspect.
Yeah.
Even the announcers were like, the flag was thrown because if he didn't catch it or if he caught it, like they didn't even have a fucking call for it.
I was talking about at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
When Josh Allen gets fucking rushed, which I literally saw happening.
I know.
Like, it was so, like, I literally saw that exact thing play out before it. And I
called
never
it too. I called it too.
I never get those calls right. But I just think that the coaching was the big key difference in that game. I think Andy Reid is a much better coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I feel like there was definitely some play that could have been played out differently for sure. But it's like every game, right? But at
the end of the day, y'all had a chance to win the game. It was in your hands at the end of the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like
I was nervous.
And realistically, Josh Allen did some miraculous acrobatic ass shit at the end of the game there, where he's getting rushed by three guys immediately, and he tosses a ball up that I thought was surely getting picked off, and then it lands like that was 100% a catchable ball. Like if he would have caught that ball, it would have been like an iconic play, like in you think the Pats
the Plaxico Burress helmet catch.
We would be talking about the Bills playing on Sunday,
right? And so whoever that receiver was, I don't remember, but like, man, you got to catch that ball, dude.
Yeah, I know. It was rough. It just felt to me at that moment where
there was a bad fumble too that you guys had.
Yeah.
I was watching the Royal Rumble last night, and they were clowning on even the announcers. They were clowning on the Kansas City refs. There was a spot where like the ref and the ring missed something. They're like, "I've seen better refereeing at a Kansas City Chiefs game."
Dude, that's rough. Whenever fucking
That's bad.
I think it was Pat McAfee that said it.
Dude, definitely. I didn't even know he did WWE stuff.
He just
That's
shows up
funny.
when he wants. I can't remember if he's actually on commentary, but he kind of just he did like the opening, but he just shows up when he wants and kicks like someone off a commentary and they shoehorn him in.
I love Pat McAfee. He's
It
great.
was funny.
He's
he
a
was in the
Pittsburgh
Royal
guy
Rumble
too.
last year.
I mean, the way I look at it this way, though, is like, man, the funniest meme I saw before the game was like, the Bills, they have a reputation of losing 4 big games in a row. There's no way they're going to do it again, right? And it goes,
Like it said, like I saw one that was like the Buffalo Bill. Nobody beats the Buffalo Bills 4 times in a row in an important game.
yeah.
or something like that.
But I mean, the way I look at it,
wouldn't lose 4 in a row.
Yeah.
so next year when we meet the Chiefs in the fucking championship game again, I mean, it's got to be their year, right? 5 times a charm.
Listen, dude, Dave Z. And listen, I wanted you guys to win so bad just so I could talk shit to Dave Z.
That would have been pretty.
Like, that
cool.
was
The year
that's
he
what I
quits on
wanted
them, they
more
win
than
the
anything.
Super Bowl. That would have been hilarious.
But like, dude, honestly, like I typically don't believe in curses and stuff like that. But man, I felt like all the stars aligned and it just failed. So I'm like, I don't know if the stars will ever align this good again. And I'm just like, I couldn't believe it. Like I was so like, I know it's the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. I was so confident that the Buffalo Bills were going to win that game.
Mhm.
I just felt it. Like I was like, everything's working. Like Josh Allen's looking better than ever. The number one in takeaway or controlling the ball and shit. All these stats that I was seeing, and the Kansas City Chiefs looked totally beatable to me this year.
Yeah.
And in past years they haven't looked beatable, and this year they looked beatable. And I was like, I think this is the year. It's going to be Buffalo, man. They're going to be in the.
I think the best case scenario for the Bills next year is to lose to the Chiefs in the regular season and change this narrative that plays out the way it does, because we beat the Chiefs every single fucking season in the regular season. And then come playoff time, we know the result. So if we reverse our luck, maybe we just fucking we tank that game, and then we beat them in the playoffs. Because it's probably going to come down to it again.
With that, dude, is I think it's like a mental thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you guys are checked. Like especially the coaching staff. I think they just think they can't win. Well, I don't think they think that. I think that they subconsciously fear that they can't win.
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, when it comes to sports, it is, it's as much as it is a physical, as much as we know sports being very physical, it's more mental when it really comes down to it. And, if you have it stuck in your mind that, this is as far as we get every single year, taking the next step is a lot fucking harder than you actually think it may be. And that next step is, obviously winning that championship game. And it's like, it's become a mental block, I think. And it's fucking savage, dude. Like I talk with people about being, a sports fan, and it's frustrating. It's like you jump into my shoes and it's like, holy fuck, bro. Like you're a Bills and a Leafs fan. That's the craziest combination in the history of fucking sports. Like 2 teams that do the same shit over and over again. They ruin the regular season. They always play super good. They just massacre the seasons, and then come playoff time, they just can't perform. It's fucking so frustrating. It's like unbelievable, actually. But I mean, that's the breaks, man. That's just being a sports. I don't take it overly that serious. I'm not that guy that's like throwing shit around and fuck. I do scream at the TV a lot, but after the end result, I'm done. Like that Monday I walked into work and people were like not looking because they know how much of a big fan I am. And everyone was like, we were talking about it and everyone was kind of like, you okay, man? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, it is what it is. I'm not that guy that's going to sit there and cry about it and dwell about it, but it would be nice to actually win once in a while, like a big game, the important game.
Well, dude, I mean, you guys fucking won a huge game against Baltimore.
I mean, I went through this with the Leafs too, like the last 6 years. I mean, Tyler knows, man. I mean, they're always top of the NHL, and then they go in the playoffs, fucking lose to Boston 4 times. They lose, it's fucking ridiculous. It's the same shit over and over again. Over and over again.
I've literally watched like all of those series. Like
it's crazy. But this year, I think, is a different narrative because Boston isn't competitive. The Leafs are looking really fucking strong.
Well, Well,
I
they
think
did
it's- I
get
think-
over the hump that one time and got out of the first round.
Yeah. So I think this year might actually be a year that they
To
legitimately
be fair,
compete
last year,
in the East.
like they never just had like their full roster on the ice against the Bruins either.
Oh man, come playoff time. I know I never try to use that as an excuse, but they are beat to shit at that point
Yeah.
all the fucking time. And
It's just like that
it's
particular
unfortunate.
series. What Matthews missed 2 games and Nylander missed 2 games.
Yeah, and that's huge for the team. Like when you have when you're losing that type of touch and scoring power and effectiveness on the ice. I mean, people think of Matthews as, an offensive player, but he's actually legitimately one of the best defensive players in the NHL.
Yeah, I always see people complain like, "Oh, he doesn't play defense." Like you don't watch hockey.
He legitimately he led the NHL in block shots.
Yeah, that was something. That's why
he's literally top 3 players in the NHL. Top players don't block shots.
Yeah, that's why he's like always someone. He's like a top 3 like fantasy like draft every year because he blocks shots.
Oh, he's a dream in the fantasy.
Yeah, nobody's like. There's no other player that scores goals at his pace and block shots.
Yeah, yeah. So like when you're picking teams, like those type of stats and those type of areas are big time, man.
It's McDavid. It's McDavid, McKinnon, like Matthews is your top 3 indisputable.
But yeah, that was a good game last night, man. The Leafs and the Oilers. Fuck, man. Because, like Matthews and David are like really good friends in real life, right? And
a lot of these
they train together. They train together too in the offseason. They actually legitimately do their own camp together and shit. It's pretty interesting. But
you figure a lot of these guys just like play against each other all the way growing up. That draft class is insane.
Oh fuck yeah. But I'm sure the majority of people have already turned off the podcast. We should probably switch back to, talking what we're here for, which is horror films. So this is Found Footage Volume 3. And we kind of put the show together because, of course, we are, after our break, we'll be returning with the top 10 of 1992 show, which will be, I guess, probably in September. So we decided to dig in the vaults here, man. And,
yeah, over the next couple weeks, you guys will probably hear a lot of like 1959 or 1992 stuff.
And a lot of people probably don't think of found footage is going back this far, but we actually have 2 movies from 1992 that are considered found footage, which is Man Bites Dog,
pretty crazy,
and GhostWatch.
There are 2 from and then like what is there, like 5 in the 90s period or something? No, maybe there's a little more than that.
Probably more than that. There's probably more we don't.
There's
really
these
like
2. There's
know.
obviously Blair Witch. There's the one that came out just before Blair Witch.
Last Broadcast.
The Last Broadcast. Fuck, it was escaping me. I think there might be another one.
I think there's another 2 maybe that I think.
So that's 4. Yeah, I don't remember.
But it's pretty crazy that 2 of them were.
Well, the McPherson tapes came out 89, right?
Yeah,
that's not in the 90s. Okay, so that's a cool one. But yeah, I like to dig in the vaults and find 2 found footage films from 1992. Pretty fucking cool. Pretty cool. So that's why we're here today. Found Footage Volume 3. Yeah. What is your guys' overall thoughts on, like, I've gone through waves in found footage. When found footage films became super, super popular, obviously with the success of Paranormal Activity, for like 3 or 4 years after that was just fucking bananas with found footage films. It flooded the market like at a time when zombie films was flooding the market and people hated zombie movies at that point too, because it was just zombie films. But then like once they stopped flooding the market, I kind of went back in the vaults and started watching some of these things and kind of rekindled my love for it. I hate when the market's oversaturated with certain genres and stuff like that. I feel like I need to like step away. Right. Mm-hmm. And I found footage. I really enjoyed it for like a little bit. And then it just, like I said, it flooded and I got out of it and I kind of went back to it. But I really like found footage films if they're done properly.
So for me, the first one I ever seen was Blair Witch Project. Obviously a very significant movie in my life and was one of the most important films that I saw to become a horror film fan. After that, I don't really know what I saw that was found footage and things like that, but I would probably say that like I really started seeing a noticeable interest in found footage around Paranormal Activity. I felt like after that movie, the market just got flooded with found footage.
Oh.
And at the time, even though I saw Paranormal Activity and I did like it, I was sort of rolling my eyes at like the new gimmick of Hollywood to just pump out these found footage films. And it kind of annoyed me at the time. However, after actually watching some of the movies that came out, and there are a lot of good ones, I think that found footage is definitely in my probably top 5 favorite subgenres at this point of horror. And I think that like when you get a really good found footage film, it can be one of like the best horror films of the year sometimes, you know. Particularly if you go back to right around that Paranormal Activity time point, maybe a few years before and then a few years after, you have just some of the best found footage films ever in that little era. A lot of them weren't as big as like the popular ones like Paranormal Activity and like the Last Exorcism and stuff that was coming out, but stuff like The Tunnel, stuff like The Bay, Atrocious, Wreck, like these movies are amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that even now, like you could still make really solid found footage films. There's a formula, a very simple formula, but one of the things in the formula is the acting needs to be on point. But also one thing found footage filmmakers out there that I don't like is the filter of like the distorted footage, like
yeah.
Some found footage movies literally like put a filter on throughout the entire movie of it doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
Well, it's used improperly a lot too, because like it makes sense if you have the right effect when you're shooting on tape. If it's a found footage film shot on tape or whatever, and you have that like kind of, analog distortion or whatever. But I hate when people use that effect when they're shooting on digital cameras. I'm like, that's not the right effect.
Yeah, it's kind of a different effect. It's like a more like blotchy, like pixelated look.
Yeah, because that would be your digital.
Exactly.
That would be your digital fuck up, right? Would be the pixelating and that type of shit. There's a difference between digital and analog, and so it's just used wrong a lot. I mean, that's definitely one of my pet peeves when it comes to found footage movies. But
even if it is the right thing and they just use it too much, though, it gets on my nerves.
It does. There's like quite a few films. I know we've had this conversation before. I can't quite think of specific examples right now, but I remember there was one movie that we were just like, dude, it seemed like it happened every 5 minutes. There was like some kind of digital fuck up, and I'm just like, oh my God, stop doing this fucking thing. It's irritating. It's not adding anything to it. If anything, it's just taking away from the movie itself. But yeah, found footage for myself is one of those subgenres that only works when the acting is natural, because that's the whole point of found footage, because you're shooting, in a real situation, right? So you're not supposed to be acting. It's real. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes off being super authentic, like something like The Tunnel, like I always use that as an example of a film where it's so it just feels real. It really does. Like, it's crazy. Like, and when you have a good story and you can kind of feed off that too. And, that's where it's at. I mean, The Tunnel is like, top shelf for me, and the Megan is Missing is the bottom of the barrel. I mean,
that is so ridiculous.
It's so bad. It's so shitty. Like it ruins.
It's just the problem is you're just too old.
What do you mean? I saw Megan is Missing.
You're gonna watch that movie again one day. You're gonna feel different.
When that movie first came out, what was the first thing I said? I said that was horrible to watch.
Yeah, it's because you're too old. You're not that kid's age, man.
No, it's
dude.
It doesn't matter how old someone is to figure out that you're watching something that's really poorly acted. Like, it's really bad though. Like, everybody in the movie, it wasn't just her. Dude. It was everybody. That scene with the parents where they're supposed to be like
the parents. I can't really comment on.
That was bad.
But dude, I think I don't know. I think it's legitimately great acting. So it's like,
dude, that's like
literally polar opposite.
It's so bizarre to me because like it's so crazy how we could be on polar ends of the spectrum on that.
With Megan is Missing to me, and this is probably my biggest issue sometimes with found footage. I'm pretty neutral on found footage. It's hard to make an assessment because they really are a bell curve of movies. Part of that is because it's so much easier to just make a found footage movie. So things. This is just me. I tend to notice things that like the reason found footage movies can be great is because they're a reflection of reality. So obviously you want it to be the most authentic to reality. And I'm just the type of person where I can't turn it off. I just notice things that are incorrect about the way like people like use the cameras or the way things work in these movies. That bothers me, and it just makes it not seem like a reflection of reality. So I watch them like Megan is Missing, and I see them literally editing an audio track over different cuts that doesn't make sense. I see like the shadows of a camera crew filming people. It just
but that doesn't really bother me when it comes to found footage, because if you take the idea that it's being filmed in our reality, you're going to get those shadows. Like, it's real life. Like, it's amateur filmmakers with a camera. That's what it's supposed to be. Found footage technically is supposed to be.
But when it's supposed to be one person in the room, it doesn't.
Yeah, when it's supposed to be a girl walking.
I think that's a totally fair.
Well, no, but that's different though too, right? Yeah, I mean that's different. But if it is one person holding a camera and you see a shadow of that, what it is, it's like
even the way like
because you're going to get that. Like, if I'm out there filming, I'm probably going to get some weird shadows though too. It's like because.
Yeah,
amateur
like,
filmmaker, right?
The extreme example is like Megan is Missing is because it's also because I've seen the movie like 4 or 5 times. It's not like it's my first time watching it. It's just it's supposed to be a girl with like one little home video camera, and I see like the shadow of a guy holding a boom mic and with the headphones on. And
is there a scene in that film too where you can see a reflection in like the car mirror, or is it a different movie?
There's a couple of times you can hear the director give her commands, like say like action go. They like didn't cut that out. There's twice where you see the camera, the crew's boom shadow. One of them is right when one of the torture scenes is happening. Like you see literally in there.
I know there was a found footage movie I was watching. I can't remember which one it was, but you can literally see the reflection in like a car mirror.
That's what I mean. Like some
I was like, holy shit, dude! I noticed that randomly. I was like, that's
easy
fucked.
To make these amateur movies because it's obviously they're using more low budget equipment, and that can fit with the story. And you just have people that are not as experienced making these movies, so it's easier to make mistakes. And once you make the mistake, what are you going to do? Just like fuck, we got to go in there. Some people just aren't going to notice, and that's fine. Sometimes even if you're into the movie and you do notice, like one famous example is there's a boom mic in The Godfather, but nobody fucking cares because everybody loves the guy.
See,
that's sort of like
that's compelling to me.
I get why on one hand it would be like more devastating to a found footage film to have stuff like that because you're supposed to be immersed in a different way than something like The Godfather, where there's like that layer of fiction there. Where it's not trying to say this is actually happening and this is footage of it. So I do think that that's a fair criticism to say that it takes you out of a found footage film.
Of course it does, because when you think of the found footage subgenre, like it's generally somebody with a camera. You wouldn't like we're not walking around with boom mics, dude, and filming shit. So that shouldn't be there. So if you see that pop into the screen, you're like, what the fuck? Like that shldn't be there.
One thing found footage has done, I think, which is probably my favorite variety of the found footage movies.
Is it the desktop horror?
Well, those are cool too. I actually do like those.
Oh, I'm hit and miss with those.
The fake documentary ones, because there's some semblance of like actually like producing a scene and acting when you're making a fake documentary, and you can edit it later on. It just makes it so you can mitigate mistakes like that,
right?
And you can take a little bit out of that. It's a reflection of reality factor. Something like The Bay, for example,
or like even recently with Frogman. It's kind of like that, right? Yeah.
What about you, Mason?
What about me? Well, I mean, found footage appeals to me when it's done right, when it puts you in that position where it feels real, like the Blair Witch, where you feel like you're part of what's going on in the drama. I'm a big fan of Hell House LLC as well, and it does really well there. And I like Host from 2020, especially
that's a good one.
And it also, as someone who likes shot on video, found footage seems to be like that post shot on video aesthetic of do it yourself and making films for cheaper and being successful, just as long as you make it scary and make it real,
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty much.
Found footage is, for me, is just short and long is the authenticity of it,
Mm-hmm.
If it just feels like it's just like I don't want to be watching actors, you know what I mean?
Just because it's more cost affordable and achievable, it doesn't make it just easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like perceived as easier, and to an extent, certain things are easier about it. But like you can,
but in reality, it's actually hard to make a really good found footage film because, like,
it doesn't like
if you were to make a top tier, like if we sat here and went through, the majority of found footage films and like put them on a tier list, how many absolute top tier found footage films is really out there? Like, there's a lot of good ones, but there's some that are really good. Like Raven Counters is another one.
Raven Counters. They still had to go find this amazing location in the woods. Like, they still had to get you to like these characters that you're just following around. They still had to tell you that they were, or just like, you have to at least have some sort of feeling towards them.
Right.
And the movie works because it gets at you emotionally, where you really believe these people are stuck in the woods. And if the movie didn't develop that with poor acting or things that just don't make sense, then it wouldn't work. It's not like the movie's suddenly easier because all they needed was $60,000 and a camera.
Yeah, I think
the thing with like found footage, especially like the ones that are like going for a scary tone, is as like a viewer, you have to be willing to let your guard down and pretend that this is happening to you, that you're in, like, how would you react in this situation? I think a lot of people have trouble with that.
Right.
I think one of the
absolutely
the taking of Deborah Logan.
Yeah, that's a really good one too. That's a good one. Yeah.
The ending oof.
Yeah,
I think there are really like a lot of great ones, dude. Like even stuff like Creep, dude.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Creep's really good.
I like Lake Mungo. That's probably one of my top.
Lake Mungo.
I liked Lake Mungo a lot more until we started watching it super critically, and there actually is a couple problems with that movie that I noticed
one time.
Yeah,
but it's like one of those movies where
but it's good storytelling but that's the thing with Lake Mungo, it's like this really in-depth kind of story and shit like that. So when there is kind of holes or something that doesn't really work properly, it is kind of a big deal, right? In that type of film. So, but yeah, it's still good. I don't know. We reviewed that one a long time ago on here.
Yeah. I wrote down Deadstream as well. That's one of my more recent favorites.
Oh, that one was like legitimately. See, I remember going into that movie thinking it was going to be awful because people are like, man, it's really funny. And I'm like, funny? I'm like, I don't want funny found footage. That's fucking stupid. But then right away you get sucked in by this character, and then it's legitimately pretty freaky too. Like it's got a good balance of like comedy and actual like scares.
If that was me there, I'd want to make fun of it too, because I'm terrified. So I want to have that like sense of humor about it.
Right.
To keep myself from losing it, at least,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones, man. Like The Bay. I that's like the ones that I enjoy.
One that's always stood out to me. I've watched that one a couple times.
The ones like I don't even have a list in front of me.
The Den is pretty good.
The Den is good.
Cloverfield a lot. The Sacrament.
Wreck.
Watching Cloverfield on like
Savage
a big 80-inch TV is actually nauseating though. Like if you get motion sickness, dude, like that shit will fuck with your head, man. It's crazy.
The Last Broadcast I like a good bit.
I really like that movie too.
Digging Up the Marrow is actually pretty solid.
Remember how long it took me to finally watch that? And like I remember you guys were like, oh, it's pretty mid, but I thought it was really good. I really liked it.
What about Be My Cat?
I've never watched that.
Yeah.
That one's
Isn't that Anne Hathaway movie?
Yeah. That movie's gnarly. Holy shit.
Okay, actually, before we go too deep,
that is a Tyler movie.
So
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I probably did this on one of the other ones. What are the top 10 best found footage films? But this is a more recent list. It's from Vulture.com, and it's the 25 best found footage horror movies. And I just looked at the date that this was produced on. So it was July 30th, 2024. So it's pretty modern, right?
Nice.
Okay, so I haven't looked at the list. I just wanted to see what the date was. I'm like, oh, this will work. Okay, so the 25 best found footage horror movies according to vulture.com. I'm pretty sure I've read lists from this website before, and so I'm scrolling down. Oh, they are listed. Okay. Oh, wow. That's not a good start. That is not a good start. This is actually, wow. Okay. Man, really? Number 25 is Cannibal Holocaust.
You don't think that's one of the 25 best?
For me, it's probably my favorite one. I'm just saying, like, it's just right at the bottom. So that's just.
I think it's also like the least like full found footage movies though of the popular ones because it goes into like
Yeah.
real movie territory.
Yeah.
It does, but I mean, the majority of
I'd
shit
be
that
curious
Yeah.
how much
I
time is
definitely
actually
consider it
spent.
found footage, but I just think that also like you could make an argument that's not purely found footage.
Right.
No, it's a hybrid, but
I still think that it is the one that kind of kicked off this idea.
I mean, it's definitely the first,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Number 24 is Late Night with the Devil. Interesting.
Huh?
okay.
I don't know how this makes
That
sense.
is not found footage, bro.
Yeah. I'm
At
not.
all.
Yeah, it is. It would be
How?
like
It is
GhostWatch.
found footage though, so
I mean,
it's the
it's-
broadcast record. It's the recording of a broadcast.
Yeah, but we actually see like stuff from like the movie.
Yeah, you
though,
see the
right?
behind the scenes stuff. Well, you see them. It's still supposed to be like it's not like only the program, but like you see them behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I guess Tony was saying though
Interesting.
On the top show that on the whoever released it, I think it was Umbrella. Whoever released the special edition of it, there's a cut of the film where there's none of the behind stuff, where it's only what you see.
See, that actually would work a little bit better for my. But then again, this movie was fine. Like, it's one of those films that was very, very frustrating for myself because
You're the only person that I know that doesn't like it so far.
I was actually just talking with my buddy Larry at his shop yesterday when I was down there picking up a bunch of records that he had on hold for me. Anyways, we were talking about like last year's horror films and stuff. And I'm like, did you see Late Night with the Devil? And he's like, yeah, I like the first 2/3 of the movie. And then the third act hit and it kind of fell off the face of the planet. I was kind of in the same boat. Like the effects took me out of it.
I don't even know what you're talking about when you say that.
Those
I really
cheesy,
don't.
Those cheesy fucking CG effects that happened in the third act. You don't remember that?
No.
I don't really remember either.
Well, they happen.
Nobody does. I think you made it up.
No,
maybe.
I did not make this up because I had this conversation yesterday. Anyways, I just don't like where this one went. I really like the aesthetic. The idea of the film is really cool. It just falters for myself in the third act. But anyways, number 23 is Dash Cam from 2021. I fucking hated this movie.
Best part of that is the rap at the end.
Yeah, the best part is this movie has the most annoying lead I've ever seen in a film.
I
And
kind of like that though.
he was annoying, but I kind of fuck with that movie. I thought it was kind of a blast.
I just
know.
didn't think the movie was that good, but the annoying lead I actually kind of like.
oh fuck, this movie just it teetered onto the point where I don't like to turn off movies. You guys know I'm a
Oh,
glutton for
shit.
punishment, but I'm actually glad I didn't turn it off, which would have been super rare for me because the rap at the end and the credits was actually pretty entertaining. It goes on for like 6 minutes or
I
something.
know it's funny too. It's stupid but funny. But I think like for me, annoying characters I don't always hate for like.
No, me either.
in-
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
Maybe
I
in
don't
like
just-
I actually don't like the Babadook that much because I can't stand both of them.
But the kid is supposed to be annoying in
I know
Babadook,
that.
and that's what's kind of funny about that argument with that. But like, I get where people are like, okay, fuck that kid. I get that, but he's supposed to be annoying.
Like when you're talking like characters that are supposed to be annoying, like the kid in Sleepaway Camp, Return to Sleepaway Camp, I find he's like super annoying, but I don't know. I like when people are willing to make annoying.
I want to punch that kid in the fucking face right now. I hate that kid so much. And he is the most whiny fucking bitch. Oh my, that is one of the worst characters in film history, in my opinion.
See, but that's the stuff that's when I like it usually because to me it's.
Oh, he's so whiny and so
We always
obnoxious.
see characters that are not annoying. So it's like whenever you make a character very annoying, I almost
there's fun annoying characters in films.
Franklin is a fun annoying character.
Like look at Pauly Shore. I find Pauly Shore annoying as hell, but he's likable to me, man. Like
What's my favorite character in that movie?
so, but yeah, Dash Cam, man, dude, that one, oh my
I need to
god,
watch that one again.
Pauly Shore is pretty likable.
yeah, he does a lot of annoying shit, but like I do like Pauly Shore.
His
I don't know.
podcast is pretty fucking crazy. Did
Did you guys ever see that movie Pauly Shore is Dead?
I think I've seen all like every Pauly Shore movie.
Fuck, Pauly
Yeah,
Shore
I've
is
seen
Dead
that
is
one.
so fucking funny, man.
That's a
I
movie
laugh
I
so
would see all the time in the previews before the DVD played.
if they go up to like Fred Durst and he's like, yo, you want to say anything about Pauly Shore? He's like, fuck Pauly Shore. And I fucking just died laughing, man. It's fucking hilarious. Number 22 is VHS 94. I like that one. It's good.
I can't remember which one's which.
All hell
I
rap.
can't tell them apart. I hadn't seen them all either.
Yeah, they're coming out so rapidly. It actually is hard to keep track of which ones.
Honestly, I think they do well.
I won't lie. I didn't like last year's one though at all. I didn't think it was very good. Oh, this is a good movie. Actually, this is actually one of my personal favorite ones. Actually, this is awesome. Number 21 is Troll Hunter from 2010.
Yeah, Troll Hunter is good. I like Troll Hunter.
That is one of the magnet titles that I'm hoping to see on Vinegar Syndrome.
I think everyone is.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, it's awesome.
I got the original Magnet Blue. I watched that again a couple years ago for summer series.
Yeah, it's a fun one, man. It's fucking cool. Number 20, which I just mentioned, Grave Encounters from 2011. Fucking awesome movie.
Really like that movie.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, the fucking hospital that they filmed at that I've actually been to that place before. It's pretty fucking creepy.
Is that in Canada?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just outside of Coquitlam. Used to drive by it all the fucking time and shit like that. It's been abandoned for a long time. Old mental place. Number 19 is Unfriended, Dark Web.
I actually like these movies. I'm not even gonna lie.
I thought they're decent.
I don't think I saw the sequel because I didn't like Unfriended. I think that's why I passed on.
I like the sequel better.
I think Dark Web was better.
They're fun for what they are, but I enjoy them. I remember
Jeremy loving Unfriended, and I was like, "Fuck that movie! That movie sucks."
I think it was Dark Web he loved.
Dark Web's better because it's not overtly supernatural, where Unfriended is. So you have to buy into like, oh, I'm cursed to the computer screen. Where like Dark Web is literally like they stumble into the dark web and get themselves in trouble.
Number 18 is The Outwaters from 2022.
Yeah, I was hoping this would be on the list.
Never seen it.
This one was pretty cool. I didn't mind this one.
It's been my top 10.
This one goes
23.
This one goes batshit at the end, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really weird movie, but I think they do a really, and it's gonna be one that's like the bell curve. Skinamarink was the same thing that year, where they're both just like either you love it or you hate it. But I thought this one was really well done. It caught like a really cool atmosphere, and it was just super ambiguous, like what actually happens.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, big time. Number 17 is The Bay from 2012. Fantastic movie.
Yeah, Bay's really good.
Yeah, another one of those kind of like
fake doc
virus fucking contagion type. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Doesn't that one really need a release or something?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
I think it's stuck on DVD.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 16 is Host from 2020. This was a cool movie.
Yeah, that was like
short. Movie. Wasn't it like an hour long or something like that?
Yeah, like as long as a Zoom meeting.
Oh, it actually even says here 56 minutes. There you go.
Yeah, that was a COVID movie when they're like, we got to make movies somehow.
Yeah, with like with some like legitimate fucking like pretty decent scares.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember that one got big during COVID.
Number 15. Oh, I love this movie. This is actually my favorite Shyamalan film, The Visit, 2015.
I forgot that was found footage.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
It's a really good one, man. Like I
remember the twist being pretty nice.
Yeah, the twist is
fucking... the twist got me. I didn't see that coming.
No, it's fantastic, man. It honestly is like my favorite Shyamalan film. Number 14 is The Last Exorcism from 2010.
You know, I think that movie's better now than I did when it came out.
I liked it when it came out. I actually rewatched it a few years back and really enjoyed it. I can't believe they made a sequel called The Last. How do you make a sequel to a movie called The Last Exorcism?
Money.
Like that's fucked.
Because it's part 2 of that Last Exorcism. It's still The Last Exorcism.
I don't think I actually even watched the sequel. I don't think I actually saw the sequel.
I have it on DVD, but I've never watched it.
I watched it again for the same summer series as Troll Hunter, I believe, and I did not like it.
Last Exorcism 2 you watched for
No, The Last Exorcism.
Oh.
Right.
What year was that? 2010?
Yeah. Same year as Troll.
So that's one of the movies that they picked over Black Swan and Insidious and the Serbian film.
Oh my God.
2010 is such a banger year. That wouldn't even be close to...
Yeah, 2010 has a lot of good films.
And Piranha were on the list of movies I had to watch.
I did really enjoy Piranha on rewatch, not gonna lie.
Would you taking over those 3 movies?
Dude, that whole franchise is fun, except for the shitty TV remake. I think that one's kind of lame, but number 13 is GhostWatch from 1992. More on that in a little bit. Number 12 is Willow Creek from 2013. I thought this movie sucked.
Fessenden?
What's that?
Is that Fessenden?
No, I think this is someone else.
No, I don't think it's.
This is a Bigfoot movie, I think.
I know that somebody was it Goldwaith who did this movie?
That's who it is,
yeah, Bobcat. Bobcat did this film. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait.
I knew it was like
That's a sick name.
It was one of those movies where there was this whole string of like Bigfoot found footage movies that came out around the same time within like 2-3 years span, where the whole movie was building up to a half a second shot of the Bigfoot. That's what fucking happens in this one too.
You can't do that nowadays.
No, dude, it was like it's just, you just wasted like 90 minutes of your life. It's, I don't know, not great. Number 11 is Paranormal Activity 3 from 2011.
I mean, it's probably the best one.
Yeah, I love part 3 is great. Number 10 is Cloverfield from 2008.
I do love Cloverfield.
I haven't seen it in a while.
It holds up.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
that's one of my bigger blind spots.
One we just mentioned, Creep, number 9, 2014.
Yep, good one.
Fantastic film. Even the sequel's really good too. Number 8 is Be My Cat, a film for Anne, 2015. It's a good film. Number 7 is Paranormal Activity from 2007. Of course, that's on this list. Number 6 is Wreck from 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, man. 2 of the biggest heavy hitters in found footage came out the same year. I love Wreck. Wreck is fucking great, man. Number 5 is VHS Part 2, 2013. Yeah. VHS 2 is great. Number 4 is Lake Mungo from 2008. Interesting.
I'm not like the biggest fan of that one.
I just, there's, like I said, there's a couple problems with the film that actually kind of brings it down for me. But number 3 is Man Bites Dog from 1992. More on that in a minute. Number 2 is Unfriended. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's crazy.
This movie sucked,
I hope number
man.
1 is Megan's Missing, and it just
it's Blair Witch.
Oh my! It has to. Actually, Megan's Mission didn't even make this list because
I thought it definitely would, just because it's a popular movie.
But Unfriended at number 2. What the? That movie sucks.
That's goofy.
Anyways, yeah. Scrolling down, number 1 is The Blair Witch Project from 1999.
They missed so many good ones, like As Above, So Below.
Yeah, that one. The Last Broadcast wasn't on here. But
McPherson tape.
What the fuck? I don't understand. Unfriended from 2014 as being number. That's crazy talk.
Capture, Kill, Release. Was Hell House on there?
Nope. You know, there's another Hell House movie coming out, right? I think it's another prequel. I think it's another prequel movie. So they're going to explain the origins of, I think the clowns and all that shit even more. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Actually, that Hell House series is pretty cool. I mean, 1 and 4, 2 and 3 are okay. They're okay.
I didn't see those 2, but I watched 4 for the year-end prep the year before, and I like that.
4 was surprisingly really good, man. Fuck, it had some creepy shit. Creepy shit for sure, man. Yeah, good stuff. There's definitely some big ones that are missing from that list, but I mean, really, like Unfriended at number 2 and Cannibal Holocaust at number 25.
The Den is another good one that don't get talked about. The Sacrament.
Yeah, The Sacrament. That one actually was on both of our top 10 years.
WNUF, bro.
Oh, what the fuck? 100%. WNUF is so good. Right. Yeah, I think there's... Yeah. Did you guys like One Cut of the Dead?
Yeah, I liked it, but I wasn't like in love with it or anything.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. What about What We Do in the Shadows?
That movie's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that movie's really good.
Damn near 10 out of 10.
That's interesting that's not on that list because that's
hilarious.
Pretty fucking big title from the last few years. That's pretty recent.
That movie's genuinely hilarious.
Yeah.
Damn, sleepy.
That's crazy, man. Oh, actually, The Tunnel wasn't on that list either.
Yeah, I was waiting for The Tunnel to show
up. What the fuck?
When was this list made?
That must be an oversight, though, man. I don't know how you could have a list without The Tunnel. It's 25 films without The Tunnel. That's crazy talk.
When was that film, or when was that list made? Recently?
Last year.
Yeah, like June of last year. Like it's recent. Yeah, that's why I actually read it out because I looked at the.
It's rare that we get a list where I'm like, that was a good list.
Right.
But even the Taken of
puzzle-
Deborah Logan, like that's another great one that's not.
What puzzles me is that it had Man Bites Dog and GhostWatch, so it shows they at least did like some
Yeah.
sort of research.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. Lists are for dummies.
The lists are for dummies, yeah. They're just always fun to talk about, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I watched for not yesterday, a couple days ago for the first time that I really liked? The Mummy 59.
Yeah, the Hammer one.
Yeah, that might be the best Mummy movie.
It is good, man. I know.
I don't
I've
think
actually
the
said that's
original was
better.
very good.
I think that is the best Mummy movie.
It's
actually.
better than the Universal and all its sequels. Now I do like the Brendan Fraser one.
Really.
I
Say,
do.
hard to top.
I do. It's actually when you
that
watch
was
it, you're
so
like,
fun.
man, they really took this fucking story and ran with it. Like they made it big. It feels like epic.
Yeah.
I've never
There's some
seen.
questionable CGI.
I've only ever seen the one Mummy film, the Brendan Fraser one. I never saw the sequels. I saw the first one.
I seen one and
Sequel,
two.
Yeah.
With the Scorpion King.
But but the thing is with Brendan Fraser, he's a guy that I cannot stand as an actor. There's something about
really?
his
I like
delivery, and he just comes off as being overly goofy to me, but like in a non-funny way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some people are just likable, goofy. They're just whatever. But like I don't know. It's like he's trying to be funny, but he's not funny to me. I don't know. There's just something off about Brendan Fraser.
Speaking of Brendan Fraser and the Pauly Shore tie-in, Encino Man.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's the worst. He's the worst part about that movie too, man.
He doesn't even talk.
No, but he sucks. He sucks in that movie though. Fucking facial expressions. Ugh. But yeah,
But yeah, 59 Mummy's pretty good. Watch it if you haven't seen it.
I've actually watched it for this prep. I think it might have even been the first movie I watched for 59.
I've kind of just been watching the shorter.
I'm pretty sure I rewatched it anyways. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not. No, it was the fourth movie. It was the fourth movie I
actually
watched.
starting to, get going on it because I know it's not too much further away.
Yeah.
I've watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've watched 10.
59. I rewatched 7.
I watched 6 and I watched 1792s.
11.
Yeah, you're way ahead of me on 92. I'm at like 7.
I got 11. I swear the majority of them are for the fucking podcast too, because like we watched Maniac Cop 3, House 4, GhostWatch, Man Bites Dog. Fucking.
I think I'm actually probably watch one that nobody else will end up watching.
What's that?
From 59 or from
I
92. I mean,
too.
Centerfolds from Hell.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's so bizarre of a movie.
Yeah,
I watched this one that was kind of like a dark psychological thriller. It was so bad, but it made me laugh the whole time. Freaking Daniel Baldwin was in it. It was called Night Moves. It's about this chess guy that gets
I've seen that movie before.
It's not good. But it's that goofy, like not goofy, but that dark thriller like 90s era.
Oh, dude, 100%, man. Yeah, I think I rented that back in the day. I remember watching that movie.
They try to like, oh, let's make it sexy for a second. Diane Lane shows her tits in it.
Yeah, early 90s like erotic thrillers and like those type of thrillers were fucking they were coming out rapid
Catherine
pace.
Isabel's in it as a little girl.
Really?
Yeah, she's like, I didn't even recognize it was her until I looked at the credits. Like, that's how young she is.
Well, that's why I ended up watching Whispers in the Dark, because I'd rewatched Sliver, which that movie's fucking still terrible.
Turns out that I liked it and other people did too. So
yeah, I didn't like it in 90s. I didn't like it when it came out, and I think it's even worse for me now. I thought maybe like I would get something more out of it. Man, that movie's fucking terrible. It's awful to me. Honestly, like I said, it's one of the worst Vinegar Syndrome releases. I don't even understand it. I just don't understand that release. But
I can't remember if I talked about it because I watched it a couple weeks ago. But I watched this one called Evil Tunes. That was kind of hilarious.
Evil Tunes is fucking. I actually just picked up the Blu-ray.
I'm aware of that one.
It'll be in my next. I have the old DVD, but I wanted to upgrade it because the DVD looks like shit.
Yeah, I pulled up like all the stuff I had favorited on my Envy, which is stuff for like my own 100 years challenge, and then 92 movie. It's just 92 movies. That's it. And I just told my girl to pick any movie in here, and she picked Evil 2.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but the Centerfold from Hell movie, dude, I kind of wish it would get a release because it's like so bizarre. So it's about this guy who is like he shoots models and he does like pornography, and he's just like the biggest douchebag chauvinist pig out there. Like he has this white girlfriend that he's like cheats on all the time, and he just has like he does not see women as like people at all, basically. And he even like flat out grapes somebody, and it's like a Christmas Carol where instead of ghosts, it's these sexy, busty aliens from like another dimension who like come to him and basically show him like his past, present, and future and shit like that, and like other people's like past, present, and future from him like destroying their lives. And like his past shows this girl that he like graped in in
Jesus.
like college or something, and they play it as like, yeah, like you did some real bad things, man. Like, you know, like is this guy gonna get his redemption? Is he gonna change his ways? And I'm like, I think he's beyond changing his, like he's beyond fixing, dude. So it's like this very like feminist, like pointing out like all this bad stuff, but then there's all this sleaze of like camel toes and big busty chicks and
What the
nudity.
fuck?
That's funny.
So
That
it
same
has
scene happens in
complete,
an Ingmar Bergman movie.
It has complete like conflicting points. It's saying like this guy is an awful person and like Hollywood, and you know these type of people just abuse women and blah blah blah, and you know, good messaging. And at the same time it's being super sleazy and showing all these like busty girls, and it's like, but you're kind of doing that right now. So it's like,
What's it called? Centerfolds from Hell?
Yeah.
it was that one that was, we were trying to figure out if it was in one of those rare Flix box sets.
Oh yeah, that
whole
set never came out.
conversation.
I don't.
So where did you watch it?
Listed on Oldies. The only person I could find that could find it was Dave Parker, so I got him to hook me up. But
Oh yeah.
12 people have watched it on
Yeah, I think it
Letterboxd.
was supposed to be a slated release for a volume 5 of that those Rare Flix box sets, but that set never actually came out.
it might have came out in like a very limited quantity or something, because I'm seeing pictures of that box set online.
It's interesting because, yeah, like I have the 4 sets of those, and I remember even looking to see if there was another one, and I could never find another one. So,
And the only site that I could see it listed ever on was Oldies.
yeah, and I might have even actually got a couple because I used to make huge trauma orders from Oldies. Remember, they would have like
$1.99.
$1.99 fucking trauma DVDs, man. Me and Jeremy would go fucking ape shit with those because like, and the shipping was cheap too in those days. So it was fucking, you get like 20 movies for like nothing. It's crazy. So
JP now has the most popular review on Letterboxd of this movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because I just liked it, and that puts you to the top.
Yo,
one like made it the most popular one. Wow, this is
He
obscure
had
shit.
one already, and there was 2 people with 2. But since I looked at his more recently and liked it, it's gonna put it towards the top.
It's fucking ridiculous.
How many people have reviewed it?
Like 3, 4,
Wow, that's pretty fucking.
12 people have seen it. JP has the highest rating on Letterboxd.
So is this going to be on the next Hidden
Dude,
Gems
I gave
episode there,
I gave it
JP?
a 6.5.
Oh, it's 6.5 is not a Hidden
3
Gem.
people gave it 3 stars in
Yeah.
of the 12.
Yeah, that's
the
I mean,
highest
dude,
rating
it's
it has.
trash. It's trash, but I found it really entertaining.
Madonna.
I would like to see a release of that. Somebody put that out. I'll buy it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
we should actually do the erotic ghost story trilogy because part 3 is
yeah.
92.
Moodz, this is a Canadian movie. How about that?
Really?
Yep. Yeah, it was on my I pulled like, I made a list of like 192 movies that seemed everything from like the stuff you have to watch to stuff that just seemed like maybe
the
worth
stuff you can't find.
Yeah.
I try not to put a lot of stuff you can't find on there, but
Yeah.
this one came up in the randomizer and I could not find it and I gave up. And then I ended up talking to Dave and he found it. So
Yeah, he's fucking good with that shit, man.
he's like just as good as Jeremy was. That's the one thing that sucks about Jeremy and MIA. He used to always get us the shit that wasn't out on disc.
Yeah.
I just go look on YouTube. It's not there. I'm like, I guess I can't find it.
Yeah, YouTube is an underrated search option, though.
YouTube is the
It's
MVP.
good for TV films. It's good for TV films.
Yeah.
When we do the old years, YouTube is like the MVP.
Yeah. I think I watched like literally like 80% of my 39 or 36 stuff on YouTube.
It was just all on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I had like 3 or 4 of the movies on disc, and then that was all YouTube.
Everything was on YouTube, or what's the other one? Like Media Archive or something, or Film Archive. And then you could
Archive.org.
Yeah. Or you could buy or rent The Devil Doll, and that was it.
Yeah, I bought that on Blu-ray, so that's Warner Archive.
Yeah. I wish I would have known that was Warner Archive before the last minute. I would have bought it.
So I was fucking. I probably shouldn't stop there. That was a bad pause. So last night,
fucking what?
I was
who?
yeah, that just came off super awkward. Anyways, last night I was on the interwebs, but I clicked on a Bloody Disgusting only to see that Matthew Lillard is actually confirmed for Scream 7. And then I started tripping dicks on it. I was like, okay, what?
You see who else?
Yeah. So also the dude from part 3. I'm like reading on this
Who's
going,
the dude from part 3?
Scott Foley, motherfucker.
Scott Foley, who was fucking Ghostface. He fucking got killed.
His brother
got killed in part 3. So he's confirmed. So it got me thinking. I'm like, wait a minute. How in the fuck is there 2, which we would assume dead Ghostface, returning in part 7?
Maybe they're ghosts.
Okay,
What?
it could
Like
be
Skeet?
it could be a Skeet thing, which I don't think they would do again.
Now there's 3 ghosts.
Or
Some
it could
flashback type
be
thing.
flashback voice only,
Yep.
which I would be totally cool with that.
Yep.
So this is really interesting. So if you read the article, which is really short, actually, it says Lillard has made no secret of the fact that recent years he believes that Stu Marcher is still alive and that he would love to make a return to the Scream franchise. So I don't know where the fuck
Yeah,
he got.
he has said that a few times.
I know, I remember him saying that,
He's
but I'm
not
like,
really
that's so.
dead, and he's in prison.
But he literally had a fucking like a TV dropped on his. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think that would kill you, honestly.
Maybe he
I
was
watched
in a
that scene
coma.
a
Maybe he
million
comes out of a
times.
coma or
But
something.
what about the stabs, like the multiple stab wounds in his?
That would probably kill you, but
I mean, he honestly
with the
was
TV combined,
dead.
yeah.
So unique pros, blah 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 blah. Okay, so it says right here.
What if he plays like Lance Mocker, Stu's brother? What about that?
Yeah, the twin brother. Yeah.
So I basically had just read the headline on this, and I never clicked on the
Drew
page until
Marker.
earlier today. So I was stewing on it last night, no pun intended. But
My puns are always intended.
that was actually not. I don't know why the fuck I even used it. Okay. I was just thinking, I'm like, how the hell are they going to use these characters again when, as an audience, they're presumed dead? But then it says in this article that I read earlier this morning, it says our actors, including Lillard and Foley, playing themselves in Scream 7, with the film taking a new nightmare approach to the Scream franchise. It's just a speculation, right?
Please,
But I mean,
God, no.
that's what I said when I read this morning. I went, no, don't do the new
I
nightmare.
can't handle that.
Because it's done. It's been done a couple of
I
times.
don't care. I don't even care that it's been done. I just don't want it in my Scream movie.
Yeah, I understand. This is the thing about whether I like the
this is
Scream movies or not.
before
They have a
Scream.
very specific thing they do that people who like Scream.
Wait a
want to
minute.
see, and they
Mason
should've
might
fucked
be
with
onto
that.
something.
Well, because Scream is all about, meta, being a movie within a
Yeah,
movie.
that's like taking it to like fourth
But
dimension.
New Nightmare obviously came out before that, so that was Wes's like first foray into that, and I think he really likes that. Obviously, we're not doing with Wes right now, but maybe that's sort of the inspiration they're going with. I don't know.
If they do that, I don't know if I could handle it, but I do think that what you just said sort of makes sense because it's like that is as meta as you can get at that point. You know what I mean? So I
And with
kind of
Scream 3 really exaggerated that as well. So it's funny that Scott Foley is back.
But it does make sense to take that approach, like the New Nightmare approach, because if you're bringing back two characters that we assume are dead, how does it work into an actual film? Where if you're not taking this total meta approach and using the New Nightmare formula to incorporate these characters again, like I don't understand how it would work because they're fucking dead. They're fucking dead. Like,
well, but I mean, you could always retcon that.
Yeah. You could pretend Stu's
but two different killers miraculously survive.
One of them a ghost.
So my question is, though, if Stu did survive, say they play it out that he did survive the original Scream film, which is literally almost 30 years ago. What the fuck has he been doing for the last 30 years?
Yeah.
Well, I assume he was in prison or a mental hospital.
Yeah.
Or maybe he recovered in the mountain. Maybe he was The Hills Have Eyes,
let's just say that they do that, the retcon or whatever, and say he survived and he's in like a hospital and he gets released or something. Would you be in favor? Would it be a good idea or a bad idea to make him the killer?
Terrible idea.
There's no way that they would make him the killer.
What if it's like Psycho 2?
It's too obvious. It's too obvious.
What if it's like Psycho 2 and he's like all rehabilitated and he's trying to prove he's not a killer anymore? And
I think it might be a mentor situation.
I think it would be too obvious.
Like Norman had the opportunity to do in Psycho 2.
I think it works better in that aspect because the whole idea of Psycho is the mental aspect of it. Yeah. It feels a little bit forced with Stu. Like, see, the main problem I have in the film part of it is, if he did survive, why the fuck has he not been around for 30 years? It just doesn't make any sense with all the different stories, all the different narratives, all the connections that he could have been involved in. Why has he never appeared if you're going to have him alive?
Up, bro.
For 30 years?
Dude, he killed like multiple people. He should not get out ever.
Yeah, this is assuming that he survived this anyways.
He could be in a mental hospital. He could be in a coma. It could be anything.
Look, let's say that he didn't actually physically kill any of them, and Billy actually killed everyone. You could maybe see like a 30-year sentence for that.
Yeah.
Okay, but how is so say he does survive and he goes to jail for 30 years. Mm-hmm. Why is there no mention in the whole franchise of maybe just one time, like, hey, this guy, Stu never actually died. He fucking went to jail.
Mention that he's dead at some point in the franchise.
But honestly, none of the past ghost faces that get done are ever really mentioned again. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So why would you mention that? But like, if he did, but just per se, just say if he does survive and he's actually in jail, the characters would know this. Obviously, it's set in this world, right? And like, why the fuck would he never been mentioned that fucking Stu actually did something? He's in jail doing his bid
because he's in jail. Why would you?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my Hollywood cap on for a second, and I think what they would do with it is he's been in jail the whole time if they go that route, and now it's a big traumatic thing because, like you said, maybe it's been 30 years. Released. He was a kid. He's been rehabilitated. 30 years, he gets paroled, and it's this huge, like, traumatic thing for Sydney, and that's how they bring her back in, and he comes back and try to make amends, and then a new Scream pops up, everybody
thinks
and then he ends up being the hero at the end and taking the L.
Oh, dude, I don't want him being the hero. That's super.
Here's what you do.
That's what they'll do.
Here's what you do.
I saw that.
He actually is the fucking killer because they do it every time. They think, oh, they're not going to make the boyfriend the killer again.
It's always the most obvious.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So they set it up like Tyler's saying, and that's what everybody's expecting, and then they do fucking make him the killer.
You make the obvious so obvious that it actually is what it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's so obvious that it's the twist.
Okay, so we explain this away. How do we explain part 3? Because that's another ghost face that is presumed dead, who's also returning.
He's alive. There could be like an archive.
Maybe you put one.
Maybe we see a conversation between him.
You're not going to make a big deal, make an article about an archive fucking vision in a film. Like,
Well, they're just trying to sell it.
Yeah,
though.
they're selling
They're
the
trying to
movie.
sell
They're
it.
like getting everybody. Look, we're talking about it. Like, what could they possibly do with this?
Yeah, they're just trying to sell it. They're trying to get some attention.
But like,
to it.
what if you did a scene in prison from
where
around that time period where it's that dude visiting Stu or something?
Exactly.
You de-age him a little bit, and maybe that's what inspired him to do what he did or whatever. I think there's a lot of things you could do with it. It's gonna piss everybody off.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
It's gonna piss people off.
Yeah, you probably don't bring them both back as main characters, and I would assume that Stu would be the one.
I just found it fascinating that they were bringing two characters that we as viewers presumed as dead.
Yeah,
like that's kind of crazy. That's a very interesting. So it
I'm
opens up the possibility of like where's like I mean it's like endless.
I'm surprised that they announced it. Honestly, I think.
What if they just go like more ghosts?
So many possibilities of narrative, man. It's just crazy to me.
Start shooting soon, so yeah.
I mean, can Scream 7 be any worse?
I don't even want you guys. Shut up! I don't even want you or you to even watch these movies.
Yeah,
in fact, you're not allowed to.
I've seen the first 6 Scream movies in theater. I'm not going to go to part 7. I got to keep
like
this
if Scream 7 comes out and I like it, and then all you fucking losers start bitching about it, I'm gonna be like, stop fucking watching them. They're not for you,
dude. Part 5 and 6 are not good movies. In fact, man,
not only are they good movies, they are great movies.
No, they're not.
Much. Yes, they are, dude.
Dude, part 6. Oh my god, 6 was
the only movie in that franchise I don't really care for that much is 3, and I don't like 2 like other people do. I think it's like decent.
Well, part 3 is, I think, legitimately actually a bad movie though.
But 1, 4, 5, and 6.
3.
Oh, I hate part 3. Part 3 is really bad, actually. I think the only good thing about it is Jenny McCarthy, and then she doesn't even last in the movie like more than 5 minutes.
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey, yeah, she's cool.
Oh, Parker.
But like, I mean, for the story in part 3 is pretty shitty.
Seriously though, I get like super annoyed at how many people talk about Scream when they come out, and they're constantly bitching the fact that there's more killers, and I'm like, what did you expect at this point? Like, are you serious?
That's never a complaint of mine. It's just
they're still doing this. There's more killers. It's like, dude, did you go into Scream expecting?
Yeah, what did you think?
No, the reveal in part 6 I thought was really bad. I thought the reveal in part 6 was really bad.
So did I, as a fan.
It wasn't like
I thought it was pretty bad.
But to be fair, like, I don't think any besides the first one had like a great reveal.
But part 6 just felt really bad though. Like it felt. I don't know.
Reveal 2 was awesome. Fucking Laurie Metcalf.
That's not a good reveal.
Even part 5 is kind of stupid too.
Holy fan kills it.
The motivations behind the kills in part 5 had me. I actually started laughing at it. I was like, "That's so bad." I was like, "Are you fucking serious, man?" Like, I just couldn't even believe that was what it was. I was like, "That's crazy to me."
I mean, it made sense to me.
That's like every role that guy has now.
I know. I called it when he first saw him in the movie. I was like, he's gonna be the fucking killer.
Since that movie, that guy plays the same character in every movie.
Yeah. Bless his heart.
I love some. I don't know. I love the Scream films. I'll probably watch them as long as they keep making them. I don't even know if they could do anything that would piss me off, because I can't. They're so ridiculous. Like the idea that there's literally this one woman has been stalked by like 9 different people is like insane in itself, right? Like you have Billy, you have 2, 1, 2 again, 1, no 2, and then 3. So what, 10, 11, 12 fucking people have played Ghostface?
Yeah, the shrine in part 6 was pretty sweet. That was like
that was
redeeming quality.
Yeah. 12. God damn. Wonder if they'll bring Dewey back.
Oh.
Let's save that for the next one.
Dude, if Dewey survived, bro, I'm gonna be like, yo.
Oh, fuck. Are you fucking serious, dude? If they keep doing this shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I even said when they finally disposed of Dewey, I was like, man, what the fuck took so long?
Listen, Wes said it when 4 came out. He's like, look, man, These are your heroes. They don't.
And they brought
die.
Kirby back. Remember that was.
But they had way too many heroes. That was the problem. The main cast just kept surviving.
But why does every movie have to have just one or two heroes? Like, why can't we have an ensemble of heroes for one movie?
I'm not saying you can't. I just think it's fucking ridiculous that you're gonna have like 7 main heroes. That's fucking stupid.
But I love
It's not as effective to me, man. When you have
it's a family.
Yeah.
deaths are more important to me than heroes. I want to see some on-screen goodness. Get rid of those fucking people.
You just don't understand screen.
Courtney Cox, come on, man.
Dude, I love Gail.
They should have killed her in part 3 for having the worst hair of all time.
It is funny though that the longer
Pretty
these
bad.
people
It was pretty fucking bad.
longer, the more impactful their deaths become.
Yeah, I know. I was like actually sad as fuck when Dewey got it.
Yeah, that's more impactful than like.
I mean, it honestly, I'm not like a super fan of the franchise like you are, JP, but like even when Dewey finally got disposed of, I was like, damn, they finally did it. Like you feel it because I mean, I've watched all the movies multiple times.
Dude, Dewey's been with me since I was fucking 4 or 5 or something.
I saw the original Scream in the theater. Like I saw all these movies in the theater.
Watching 6, I was like, "Is this Gail's time? Is it finally?"
I was literally going to be so mad if they killed that Gail.
I don't think they're going to kill her off. I think she's too big of a name. Like,
I think she's getting killed this movie.
You think so?
Yeah. Once they killed Dewey, I was like, they're nobody's safe anymore.
Although
I thought they were.
They're not writing. Her character doesn't.
Dewey, they were kind of passing the torch to the core 4 and the whole core 4.
Yeah, Gail's character is kind of falling off anyways, so it would be the right time to kill her off anyways. I
felt like she had a bit of a bigger
but
role.
then they blew up core 4, so now they have to like retool their cast.
Yeah, but isn't like 2 of the core 4 coming back?
Are they?
Like is Sydney actually signed for part 7 or not? Sydney, what's her name?
Neve Campbell.
Neve Campbell. That's what I meant to say. I just called her by her character name.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the twins are back. Randy's
yes.
Okay.
Which the dude in the core 4, the black kid, that's like my favorite of the core 4.
So they decided to actually pay Neve Campbell this time? Like, what
choice did they have?
Whatever the producers were thinking of not giving her what she wanted
because
for part 6 is crazy to me.
It's so easy to say that when you don't know anything about the numbers and you're paying Jenna Ortega and you're paying.
It's true.
That's what I mean. Jenna Ortega is the.
It doesn't matter, JP. She is the face of the franchise. Yeah, no matter how you look at it.
You have a new generation of people watching these movies that have never even seen all the Scream movies. They don't really care about Neve Campbell as much as they care about Jenna Ortega.
But there still is fans of the franchise like us, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. But we're not.
She came back on the next one, bro. They worked it out.
Yeah.
I just think it's a big miss. I mean, honestly, like if I had a very successful franchise,
I wasn't like, damn, this movie doesn't have Neve Campbell. It sucks. I didn't feel that way at all in 6.
Yeah, part 6 sucked though.
There's too much that there's too much that we don't know about what actually transpired to like call the studio.
Yeah, like how do we know Neve Campbell isn't asking like for like $80 million or something?
Because nobody asked for $80 million. Leo doesn't even get $80 million per film. That's crazy.
It's an exaggeration.
And Leo's the sexiest guy alive.
I'm like, let's say she's asking for like double what everybody else got, or like triple. You never know.
Yeah,
I love Leo. I'm not even joking. I actually love Leo. He's great.
Oh, there's just too much that we don't know. Like maybe deals prior to this, she would get like a percentage of the box office sales, and now Jenna Ortega has that deal. We're like, dude, we're not giving Jenna Ortega 10%, but giving you this percentage. That's just not happening. This is what we'll offer you.
Because I mean, especially now, like Jenna Ortega is a way bigger name than Neve Campbell.
Yeah, and I'm sure like she,
but not to the franchise. I understand what you're saying, JP, but not to the Scream franchise as a whole. Jenna Ortega is definitely a bigger name. She's a bigger draw.
Yeah, I think she is. Yeah, but that's the whole point. They care about making money, and people our age aren't the people who are going to see this in large numbers.
I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you look at demographics on this franchise.
Because who goes to movies in general, though. Oh, well, because there's people our age. There's just way more of us that have kids, have more like important things going on in life. So your demographic is like your teen.
I've always been hell bent on not accepting the fact that we're just anomalies. I don't like to accept that. I just don't like to accept that reality because
all the horror fans could go together and go see a movie, and it would be like like 2% difference.
Yeah, it doesn't move the needle as much as you would think.
Yeah, it probably doesn't. I mean, I just try to avoid it. I try not to think of it like
they're
that.
probably paying. It's just I kind of look at it almost like a hockey team where you have your cap space and they're probably they're paying this person, this percentage.
I mean, it's a big cast,
now they're in their
especially
prime.
after the core
And,
four.
yeah,
right?
and then you look at Gail probably took a smaller cut, or Courtney, I should say. But you have Courtney and Nev, who are now not the big draws, they're the veterans who aren't gonna produce the same draw that they would before. So they're not willing to offer them as much.
Yeah, you're right.
Have the big cast already.
But the bigger picture is there's still two of the main faces of this entire franchise, not just the current films. You know what I mean?
I understand that. I'm looking at it from just the perspective of why that would have happened. But
true.
We don't really actually have enough info to
also
tell.
at the end of the day, the studio could afford to pay her anything.
Yeah,
probably.
absolutely.
Well, of course, because the Scream films have big budgets and they're always making money. Obviously, they still keep making them because they're not going to keep making the films that are losing money. So they have the budgets. I just feel like you have the budget, you have the means for it. Just go through it and get everyone there.
I suspect if it was a monetary dispute, it's because Nev wanted probably some portion of the back end percentage, and that's where they.
Well, I mean, the only reports that we got was the fact that they were just lowballing Nev. Basically, they just weren't willing to give her, even a portion of what she probably is worth to the franchise. And I can kind of see it from her vantage point, being like, this franchise does kind of survive. And, I'm a big face for it. So I get her point for it though, but like I said, like we don't know all the
It's
facts.
just
There could have
something
been more to
also
it.
that Nev might just feel, it's not even worth my time to do this unless you're going to pay me this much.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do that, whatever, peace.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, Scream, the newest reboot, like 2022 Scream, that was just called Scream, made 81 million at the box office. Scream 6 without Nev Campbell made 108 million.
But that actually makes more sense because that movie came out right after part 5 and it was baking off of that one, right? So if part 6 didn't make more than 5, I would have been shocked. It has nothing to do with the fact that Nev is not in that movie. It's just
but I'm saying the fact that Nev would be in the movie, I don't think would move the needle up higher.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right, but I'm talking about it from a franchise fan standpoint, though. Right?
Yeah, of course, we all want Nev there, dude. She's the fucking star.
Yeah, that's
all
that's
the fans wanted Nev. Like,
there's just a lot to consider. That I don't think it's fair for anyone to blame any Pacific side for the specific side for this.
And clearly, it didn't bother her too much.
Yeah,
because
it also could be like maybe like Nev they needed her for like 3 days.
Well, the Cuba Gooding Jr. man, they showed her the money. So 100%.
Yeah, Mason Gooding.
Show me the money. Yeah, they gave it to her, but whatever.
They gave it to Mason.
I mean, she has said that she likes doing the movies, so
show me.
Of course,
the money.
it's a big payday.
I actually just watched that movie.
No, but I think she legitimately likes doing. Like, I think she likes doing the character.
Yeah, and I hated it. I thought it was awful.
Well, I think I mean what she said flat out was that she was very hesitant to do it without Wes, and
right.
He ended up doing it, and she said that she felt like Wes would be proud, and I do. I think so too. I think Wes would be completely happy with both of those movies.
Yeah, me too.
I did like 5. I didn't like 6.
I mean,
like
they
5.
do. They fit into the franchise quite well. I don't think they're as well revealed. I think both the reveals in both those movies aren't as good as past ones, but it's also part 5 and part 6.
Part 4 is, I would probably say, the second best still, but part 1 is just so much better than all of them that it's not even...
No, I think part 4 is definitely, if you're talking in terms of best, and it's also my second favorite.
5 too. It was long enough where I had a Scream movie that it felt like we were ready to be back in that world, and the callbacks they did were like subtle enough, but they were still there for the people. So like I thought it was cool how they incorporated.
The beginning when they were talking about elevated horror and shit. That was
it had the same satire that the original one had, and I thought it was cool how they were able to get Randy's niece in there, and she had the
You
Randy.
gotta keep that meta shit alive, right?
That stuff was really cool, and then how it all ended up back at the original house. I thought those were just nice touches to it, and it was something that I enjoyed.
As a fan of this series, right? One day we're not going to get any more Screams ever.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to enjoy them while we have them. I never thought we would even get another one after part 4 after West Side.
Yeah.
I thought we'd get a reboot or something. So like a remake. So whenever we actually got a continuation, it just made me so happy that and the fact that it was a Scream movie. It still felt like a Scream movie.
Yeah.
They didn't take too many crazy left turns or anything. So one day we're not going to have any more ever, period. So for me, this is like, I'm going to enjoy it. The same way,
kind of like how we're not getting any more Nightmare films or Friday the 13th films. Like,
right,
those are fucking dead in the water. We've just accepted the terms. It is what it is.
Like, I would kill for even the quality of like a part 7 or 8 Friday the 13th at this point. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think everybody would actually.
There has to be a 13th one. It just has to be.
Yeah, and that's the most ridiculous damn thing.
Yeah.
We've been stuck on 12.
We've talked about this for years. How the fuck could you not make Friday the 13th part 13?
Exactly.
It's like it's actually comical at this point now that it's never going to happen.
There has to be some sort of rights shit going on behind the scenes.
Well, it's such a long story of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
This
there
rights
were
thing,
opportunities, then there weren't. then they actually
figure it out.
They pulled the plug last minute when they were about to start filming one because Rings bombed. And
okay,
I forget who wrote that script, but that's basically what they said when they published the script online.
Yeah.
Paramount pulled the plug when Rings bombed or something. And then there was the whole rights issue for like 3 years that the original writer of the first one was in court battling to basically regain ownership. And he did. So now there's like even more confusion because he owns the title Friday the 13th as well as the original story, but he doesn't own like the sequel stories. Mm-hmm. So it's like even more of like a weird clusterfuck of stuff.
Yeah. So he doesn't actually own the character of Jason Voorhees.
He owns the little boy character of Jason Voorhees.
But he doesn't own the masked one.
Correct.
Oh no, that makes sense.
So I mean, with him not having that, then obviously somebody has a copyright on that or owns that or whatever. But why can we not get a sequel then? Because of the name thing? Now
we can again, but it's just is somebody gonna do it? I'm sure it has to be coming sooner or later.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to do it if they can't get the rights to having the Friday the 13th name. Because if you can use a Jason character,
but they've been
just call it Jason Voorhees Part 13.
But that happened before,
when
right?
it's 50 years old.
When the franchise rights went to New Line, they lost the title of Friday the 13th. So
right.
That's why you got Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
And then once it like merged back with Paramount and then into like Warner and stuff,
the remake.
Then you had the remake was able to be done. I still think I want the Snowy Jason movie still.
Yeah.
Snowy Jason.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome, man. When I think of snow, like, I don't know why I just thought of like Wrong Turn Part 4 because that was set in the snow, right?
Yeah, we need to make a franchise death poll. Which one gets resurrected first?
I honestly don't think they're going to do another Nightmare film.
I thought for sure they would have put one in production after the success of it, dude.
It is really interesting.
So similar.
It is really interesting. Like, we obviously know why Friday the 13th isn't coming out because of the whole rights issues and stuff like that. But like, the deal with Nightmare on Elm Street is really wild because you did have a remake that fucking sucked. But you think by now, it's been so long. It's been 15 years since that remake came out. That something would have been in actual production because there is no real studio, issues with the rights and stuff like that. No one's just making a film. Does nobody really want to touch this? Because at one time, Nightmare on Elm Street was the biggest thing in the world. And I think if you were to do a film, say right now, it would fucking pop, dude. It would be really good.
I know. I could see like
really
the
big,
first teaser trailer coming out and like getting people like, especially this new generation that weren't around for any of that.
Yeah.
I feel like it would capture their attention.
But just do another film. Don't make a sequel to the shitty remake. Don't make a fucking, just make another film. Like you can use the idea.
I'm surprised we didn't get like a legacy one with Robert Englund at this point, like before he goes.
Well, he did say even if
that seems like that, dude. Listen, he says he doesn't want to play Freddy, but money talks, bro.
No. He said it's not that he doesn't want to play Freddy. He said he's too old. He actually said this about 5-6 years ago. He said, I know. He goes, I physically can't move like the character needs to be.
If they wanted him, he would do it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, I can't. That was one of the biggest problems with the remake was not hearing Robert Englund's voice. You know what I mean? Like you just it's just it was so
maybe that is why they're hesitant. Maybe they just don't think they're not quite sure about if people will accept a different voiced Freddy.
Because when you really think about it, like when you're doing a Jason movie, he doesn't fucking talk. It's all about body movements and stuff. Like anybody in theory could play Jason, but not anybody can play Freddy because it's a speaking role. There's a lot of charisma. There's actually acting involved. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's such a huge role. Like it's an important role.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, I don't even want to say somebody to play him because I just don't trust anything that I feel with that.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd have to go a completely different direction because you don't want someone just trying to imitate Freddy.
I know, but then you risk.
I say you take the ideas of like what the origin of, the Freddy character is and stuff like that, and just make that movie super, super dark, violent, just crazy over the, like, I think that you can like not remake it, but just take the idea and do your own thing with it.
I think the best idea is to do like a Dream Warriors style movie. Not necessarily like remaking Dream Warriors, but that setting in a mental hospital, kids who have been having nightmares. I think there's so much fun stuff to do with that.
I mean, you could actually legacy that, read out to like descendants of whatever. There's got to be still people. I mean, obviously in Freddy's Dead, I think it was like the end of the people that were involved and stuff like that. But you could figure something out narrative wise to connect it to that too. Take the Freddy origin story and kind of come up with a new story of descendants and stuff. Like you connect all the dots, but make it fucking dark. Like make it super, super dark.
No, what they do is they make Freddy a trans woman.
Oh,
like in Hellraiser.
Oh my God, I actually choked.
I could totally see them doing that. Honestly, I'm not even joking.
Dude, that is way too fucking modern. That's way too much. No.
It's way too much of a shift is what it is.
Yeah, that's not.
I can't picture a female Freddy. I'm sorry. It's just tough.
No, and I mean,
goes against the idea.
Hellraiser, not good. That wasn't good.
I did not like Hellraiser.
It was actually legitimately pretty bad.
But it wasn't because of the Pinhead girl. Like I thought she was fine.
No, it was the story. It was actually the story of the movie sucked. It actually sucked. Yeah.
I remember people saying they liked it. I'm surprised you guys didn't.
It made Dave's. It was like number 3 or something on Dave Z's top 10.
I watched it twice actually because I thought the first time I was just like couldn't get over the fucking fact that I had a female Pinhead, and
which isn't that crazy, right? Because we have the very first movie has a female Cenobite.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, but I mean, as a side kind of character and stuff. But I mean, when your focus is like Pinhead, like I'm just so used to seeing Doug Bradley.
I know.
He literally played Pinhead like 10 fucking times or 9 times.
Pinhead wasn't even really ever supposed to be the focus either, though.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like if you actually break it down, like Pinhead is on screen for like 4 or 5 minutes for each movie.
Yeah, and even the female has like
total
nearly as much. I think the female Cenobite has nearly as much like dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just so iconic though. Like, just
speaking of which, I'm literally going to see that in 2 days in the theater. How about that?
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
I would love to see Hellraiser. I'd love to see Hellraiser on the big screen. That's fucking awesome. I would love to see 1 and 2 as a double feature. That would be fucking so cool. Yeah. I mean, I love part 3, but 1 and 2 on the big screen. I actually saw part
3 is 92, bro.
I actually saw part 3. Well, I've told the story a million times in 92. The one night Midnight Madness showing that they had. They only showed it one night, one time, and I saw it.
Dude, I missed the midnight.
Cool.
You were like 12 years old?
Yeah, I was 12. Yeah, I was staying at my buddy Billy Chapman's house, and we got tickets to it, and we went there for the 12 o'clock showing, and it was fucking awesome. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Got his parents to pick us up after the movie at like 2 a.m, whatever it was. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Had you seen the Hellraisers already?
Yeah.
By that time?
Yeah, I'd seen 1 and 2. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Hellraiser 3 is like straight Freddy inspired. It's kind of funny.
I've only seen it one time. It was a while ago too. Like real early when I got into when I was getting into horror, I ran through that whole franchise. Yeah, and that was the only time I watched it. So I'm kind of looking forward to watching it again.
I actually like most of the franchise.
I'm probably gonna do it soon because I'm gonna go see Hellraiser this week at the theater. And
Bro, this guy literally doesn't listen to the word I say.
What?
That's how we started talking about Hellraiser. Is I was like,
yeah, well, I was saying I was gonna go see it in the theater this week.
That's what I just said. I'm going this week.
Yeah, so am I.
You guys are so lucky.
You're saying it as if like you just like brought that to the table.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm gonna go.
Lucky.
I'm gonna go this week.
You didn't say I'm also going. You said, "Hey guys, I'm going to see Hellraiser." This
Yeah, like it was a new conversation.
I didn't think that I had to include the also, but what I was going to say was I'm going to that this week, so I might as well, since I'm gonna be watching Hellraiser, just watch Hellraiser 2 soon after, and then watch 3.
Oh damn!
Yeah. So, are you going Wednesday or Thursday?
I'm gonna have to go Wednesday because I'm gonna be away at a meeting on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going Wednesday as well.
Holy fuck! Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of those cool things that Fathom Events is doing, Moodz. So it's like a nationwide release.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, when I looked at that, I just got my mind blown. I thought that it was the newest Hellraiser they were showing for some reason. I just now remembered it's the fucking original. So I'm definitely going.
Yeah, my theater was like sold out. So check.
I gotta look.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's a good idea. We're gonna buy tickets.
Well, luckily, I got 2 choices for theaters for Cinemark. Oh, there's plenty of tickets. I can go.
Okay.
All right.
Damn, I don't want to go.
Oh shit, Moodz.
Man.
Catch a flight, dog.
Yeah, they were doing My Bloody Valentine original, and
it's cut though.
Movie.
So
it is the cut version.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, why would anybody want to go see the cut version of that movie?
They don't know.
I know that's
they
why
don't know, dude. They're just a fucking big.
I don't even want people to ever to see the cut version because it's just that's the impression you get from that movie. I'm like, people talk about like, oh, My Bloody Valentine's fucking awesome.
The cut version is legitimately like nowhere near.
I investigated the run.
It cuts out whole scenes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you watch the cut version for the first time and never seen the other version, you'll walk away saying that was an okay slasher from the 80s.
Yeah.
If you watch the uncut version, you walk away going, that's one of the best standalone slashers that exists.
It is. It actually is one of the best.
Tyler, have you done any of these Fathom things lately? Do they show? Lately. Do they show previews?
No,
usually no. Usually it starts
some of the Fathom events. You'll get the guy from TCM will talk about the movie.
Yeah,
Mankiewicz will talk about the movie for a few minutes, and I kind of enjoy that. But yeah, they don't have previews, and it's really annoying because everybody's used to movies having previews. So people
are walking in late.
Yeah, people walking like 10 minutes late, and it's like in the middle of the movie. It's annoying.
So the movie starts at 7, right? And I get off work at 7. I'm like 10 minutes away from the theater, but it's like, I'm gonna be all fucking rushed. Fuck.
Yeah.
So what if you were like, man, I got shit real bad. I got to leave 10 minutes early.
Can you leave work early?
Fake sick like a half hour before you have to go.
I'm a retail manager, and it's just me alone at the store. Like I have to be there.
Yeah, half my theaters are.
You need a job like mine. Like when you're done, you're done. So if I'm done in 4 hours, I still get paid for my whole day of 8. I just go home. Could
ask a coworker that lives like close by. Hey, will you come close for the last half hour? That's like how I could get away with it.
Right.
I want to see Hellraiser that bad.
I want to go see. Oh, why? What's going on? I want to go to the movies.
I know, right? You don't tell I've asked her to do it before, and she has. But
to me, that doesn't even seem unreasonable.
Right? No.
I just bought my ticket because half my theaters are already sold out.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. I wish I could buy a ticket.
I couldn't
Yeah,
make
dude.
any of the other ones.
Like all of my like center sections are sold out almost.
I always sit in the back row anyways, so that's where I gotta
So do
sit.
I.
All right. Well, is that it for the intro?
Yeah, that's good.
It's probably good. I don't know how long that went on for. Probably too long as usual. But all right. So that is the intro. We're going to be back here with some 1992 found footage film. Yo, who this?
Yo, Moodz, it's your boy, the ill-mannered funky child, calling you to remind you that the featured reviews on this episode contain spoilers.
Aw, yeah, man, that's right, brother. Thanks for the heads up, playa. Now go back to being an unproductive asshole.
Fuck you. I tell your listeners to stop being so dumb, silly, sensitive.
Yeah. All right, so getting into the featured reviews here on episode 283, Found Footage Volume 3. We're going to take it all the way back to 1992 with a film called Man Bites Dog. Now, what, have you guys seen this film before?
I've seen it once before.
No.
I'd seen it for the first time back in November, and I just watched it again today. So
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Tyler, you don't actually own, like, I'm just, I see the big Criterion block behind you, and this is actually one, because you don't own DVDs, do you?
No, I don't buy DVDs.
Such a fucking...
Who the fuck buys DVDs?
Yeah, but it's only available on DVD. It's Criterion DVD.
It's eventually gonna come.
It's
out.
in HD on fucking HBO Max.
I'm surprised that it hasn't gotten a Blu-ray release from Criterion.
It's inevitable. It's the same thing with Peeping Tom. Like, I never bothered buying a Peeping Tom Blu-ray, and now we have a 4K.
I did not feel like I literally had to resubscribe to stupid HBO Max to watch it. I was so annoyed.
Dude, the fucking DVD.
I watched it on Criterion.
It looks good. It looks fine. The DVD of this film looks fine.
For this type of movie, it's probably fine.
Well, it's black and white too, though, so it doesn't.
I think it's out of print too, so I'm also just not paying money like that for an out of print DVD.
Oh,
but it's easily available to stream for me, so there just doesn't seem a purpose for me to buy the DVD.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hardboiled was another one where that's the only was stuck on DVD, and that recently just got announced. But I just knew, like, one day it's like Hardboiled was gonna get announced.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, right? I mean, I've got the, I do have a Blu-ray of it, but
Shout got the rights to it.
That's good. Yeah. Synopsis on Man Bites Dog. A film crew follows a ruthless thief and heartless killer as he goes about his daily routine. But complications set in when the film crew lose their objectivity and begin lending a hand. So this is a French film. So right off the bat, you got to read this shit. Actually, it says it's from Belgium. But
Might be a co-production.
No. It's in Belgium. They speak French.
Yeah.
So it's actually a Belgian film. But of course, it's in French because that's what they speak there. So you're going to have to read this motherfucker. You got a problem with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is what it's pretty easy.
Bullshit.
So, JP, since you've never seen this film before, what are your thoughts on Man Bites Dog?
Man, this was a weird watch, dude. I wanted to like it so much. Because I think it's gritty and it's dark and it's gross and you feel bad. But I just like, it was tough because I just felt like nobody acted like a normal person in the movie. And when you talk about found footage like we were earlier, you have to believe these people. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why is the documentary crew like helping with all this? Like, what is the point of making this movie then? You
feel like
incriminated yourself in the entire film.
I just kind of feel like when they lose the focus of just following this, this serial killer / fucking serial crime artist around, it kind of falls into the whole Cannibal Holocaust territory where they kind of like spruce up the shit a little bit. I feel like there's just, if you spruce it up a little bit and you kind of get involved in stuff, maybe it's kind of elevating their documentary that they're
Like,
making.
what is their goal with this? Like,
I think the original goal is just literally to follow this guy's like kind of daily routine and stuff. I mean, the whole idea is really kind of ridiculous because the fact that this film crew would know about a serial killer / serial crime artist or whatever, but no one else does. The main problem,
I think that you could maybe make the argument that he reached out to them or something, and he was like, "This is the last hurrah."
they never focus on that. That's one thing in the film that actually is overlooked, that you don't really. I get the impression that the film crew found him, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because if they can find him, police
that
can
makes
find him
less
too.
sense.
I know, and that's what I'm saying, because then the police would know too. Like, I mean, you're just going to go and find this guy that's doing all this serial killing and stuff like that, because he talks about he's been doing crimes for years and years and years. Like, there's a conversation in the film about killing kids, and he's like, I've only killed 2 or 3 in the last 5 years. So he's obviously been doing this crime shit for a long time and stuff. So the film crew,
and just like the way he kills people, I'm like, dude, like, there's no way this guy would be getting away with this for this long.
Okay. So my biggest complaint,
be a high satire. I don't think we're supposed to actually buy into this guy just kills people and it's a secret of people.
Yeah.
So you think it's like a fucking
I think it's
funny games type thing?
Yeah, I think it's a commentary on our obsession with violence and.
No, it is. And this movie's set in reality, but it's not set in reality.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's following this, this typical crew and a serial killer doing this thing and stuff like that. But like, you're right though. Like, the one problematic thing I had when I first watched this movie was like, there's no fucking way that you're going to walk around this town, commit all these crazy crimes, kill people in broad daylight, be disposing of bodies in broad daylight all the fucking time and get away with it constantly.
Touching everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 92, bro. We got fingerprints. I don't know about Belgium.
But that's where the satire comes in. That's where the satire comes in, because clearly, like, there's a great scene in the film where he's dumping a body into the water and the train passes. Like, obviously they saw what he was fucking doing, right? Like, it's ridiculous, right? So that's where like the comedy elements of satire comes into play, but it is definitely
it's like he doesn't even try to hide anything, barely,
because he doesn't have to,
like
because set in this weird ass reality, and that's where the satire comes in. It's like you can just walk around and start fucking killing people and doing all this crazy ass shit. Like, it's ridiculous, and like people know about it too. Like, his family knows what's going on. Like, there's other people that are involved, and like. It's just totally out of left field bullshit and stuff like that. But I think if you get past the fact that you're not watching like a serious toned documentary, mockumentary style film about following this, day-to-day life of the serial killer and stuff like that, and you put the satire aspect into it, then it kind of makes a little bit more sense, because you're right. Let's face it. No one's getting away with this shit the way he's doing. It's all in broad daylight. Everything he's doing is in broad daylight. It's fucking ridiculous. So
maybe I'm just jaded and it doesn't feel like that important to me, but like, just to say like, oh yeah, we're obsessed with violence. Like, I feel like it's kind of a long movie to just say that. And that's like the whole point of the movie.
But I mean, in a sense, the documentary crew, if you're going to make a documentary about following somebody, I think that's the point though. It's like, they're fascinated with, the violent aspect of what this person's doing and stuff like that. So we're going to go and film and stuff like that. That is the commentary. Yeah. One of my biggest complaints with this movie is that it is too fucking long. It runs over 90 minutes. I feel like this movie should have been about 75 minutes.
That was a complaint.
75 minutes would be
because honestly, watching this film, I even noted too, there's a bunch of scenes in the film I feel like don't need to be there. There's a bunch of scenes where, they're in a bar and they're drinking, and like there's a scene right after they kill somebody, they're in the bar. And then he just starts talking about fucking like boxing and shit after one of the crew members gets killed and stuff like that. But it goes on forever. And there's a bunch of scenes like that just, they start out like, okay, that scene's important, but then it just keeps dragging and dragging and dragging. And I feel like the runtime just runs itself right up in this film. It's crazy, man. Like,
it feels a lot like I Stand Alone to me as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a good comparison.
See, I like that scene in the bar. I think when they're showing just the camaraderie of them together and almost like presenting him like he's this fun guy that just happens to kill people. That's something I really do like, but I do agree this movie's a little bit too long, where I think it really suffers when it's trying to transition to the final act when he gets injured. That's where the blow comes in for me. Like, that stuff should have just not been in the movie.
I think right from the start of this movie, like, it's very problematic for me because, like, we're obviously dealing with a satire on violence and crime and, you know, even satire on serial killers in general. But the problem is with the movie for myself is that this serial killer, our main character here, is not meant to be a likable character. I mean, how do you like someone that's committing fucking just random crimes? Literally random crimes. Like he's breaking into houses.
He was awesome.
He has a system. No. But
when he killed the old lady, I was like, I don't like his piece of shit anymore.
But he's not. He's not a fun person to be with, though. He's not very charismatic at all. There's
not some funny. Like uncomfortable moments, like when he wants to go like out for oysters or whatever, and everybody's kind of just like, maybe another time.
Yeah,
it's like
because that's where the crew hadn't broke yet. The crew hadn't broke yet. They were all still together, and they weren't like unsure about hanging out with this guy like on like a personal level. Because it was business at that point. And when you have this conversation, you want to go for fucking oysters and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, it's like one of the most awkward things ever. But I just find like the lead himself he's so uncharacteristic. Like he's not. I thought he
does have. I think.
I thought he was charismatic. I liked him. I honestly really liked him. I love when he's right in the opening scene. I really kind of sunk into exactly what this movie was doing. Right at the opening scene where he's talking about weighing down bodies. I just thought they were tipping you off right there. That you're supposed to laugh at this. You're supposed to laugh.
No, yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely it's definitely
from there. I knew it was like, okay, so this is what we're doing here. The first time I saw this movie, I think I gave it like a 6 out of 10, but I wasn't reviewing every movie or at least writing something about every movie I watched back then, so I don't really remember what I didn't like about it. It might have been the tonal thing. That's why I like that I write about everything now. It's easier to go back and like, okay, this is what I did.
That's why I started trying to do that more often this year.
I get it. Like he's like, you know, he's obviously a serial killer. He's quite obviously a sociopath, right? He can kill somebody and go on with his day, whatever. But like I think the best thing about his character is that he's super nihilistic when it comes to like just reality in general. Like everything is downbeat. Like everything is the end of the world. Like he's that type of person. But like, you know, coming from the aspect of it being a satire and like, I just feel like his character, like he just doesn't have enough, in my opinion, charisma for that element of what they're trying to do with the satire. He's not funny at all. Like I know he's not really meant to be, but even in that aspect, like he just doesn't come off as being someone that I really want to spend a lot of time with. Like, honestly, I'm more interested in the crew. I wish the crew had a little.
Dude, the crew sucks.
I wish
they were having fun with them until
it's because they don't showcase the crew at all. The only time they really get into the crew is when they start getting picked off one by one randomly. I feel like it's like fucking Spinal Tap at this point.
It was fun for their drummers. Yeah, it was fun for them at first.
Yeah,
they liked hanging out with this guy, hearing all this dark shit, and they were getting great footage. They were having a good time. Then someone died.
And what the fuck
for them?
And what the fuck are they talking about? Like needing money to finish their film? Like, what the fuck are you doing that you need money for? You're just walking around with this guy.
I think it's more about just if you're making a movie and you're not working.
Oh, you think they were using film?
Yeah, they had a film. Yeah, they had the guy.
Yeah, that's like that is really expensive.
Well, it was a 4-man crew with film and sound. Like you got to pay. Like I don't think everyone's working for free. That you need money for the production. It's not just about filming. Yeah. Right. Obviously, it's guerrilla filming. You don't need money to pay for, you know, locations and stuff like that. But it's still, you got to pay your guys. They still have to eat too. I think there's still money involved.
Watching this, you ain't eating on this film. I felt like Behind the Mask took a lot from this movie.
Well, that's why we brought up Clive that one time. We were talking about this specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like Behind the Mask because it was like too much of a ripoff of this. But I think they're so different.
They're like completely different subject.
Well, have you guys ever seen Long Pigs before? It's the same idea. It's a film crew that follows
a serial killer. Is that a found footage movie?
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen
Long Pigs is fucking, it's gory and fucked up too, man. It's great. It's a Canadian film, but it's very similar. It's the same type of premise where a crew is following the serial killer, but it's a lot more graphic than this.
Why are the pigs long?
Oh, for fuck's sake, Steve.
No, seriously, like, are they like
for fuck's sake.
Like, where does that come from? Like, is it like, I picture like if you hung a pig up on a meat hook and you left it there for like too long, it would stretch out and get all long. That's what I picture. Is that not what it is?
Dude, it has everything to do with cannibalism because the movie, he's a serial killer that's like a cannibal.
Oh, because humans are longer than pigs.
Yeah, it's like another term. It's like another term for like, you know, like almost like cannibalism and stuff like that. But it plays into the movie. It literally plays into like the Long Pigs title actually has everything to do with the movie. So
Behind the Mask may have took a lot from this, but this is, I think, definitely supposed to be like a satirical commentary on our obsession with violence, just watching grim shit in the news all the time. And like, I think the film crew also plays an important that role where they're getting killed off and they still want to do this movie. It's like his desire and his drive to do this even at the expense of this. And then it's almost like it's not like it really is in the movies as the movie might be trying to say, and then when things start to actually happen to them. So I thought that was really good. But yeah, if you compare it to Behind the Mask, that's clearly just a deconstruction and satire of the horror genre, which even, this film doesn't own the license to making a mockumentary, like a satirical documentary, you know what I mean? It's not like
I think for me, I'm probably not giving it enough credit for when it came out, and like being experimental like this. I think that I've seen that type of message so many times, but probably in films that came after.
But you got to watch this with in mind that you got to watch it from 1992.
I know, and that's what I feel like I failed to do when I was first thinking about it. Because I instantly thought of stuff like Funny Games, right?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because Funny Games Funny Games was 97. Funny Games does do the same thing way better.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, but yeah, the documentary, like following a serial killer type thing, is interesting, and especially for 92, like that was pretty early. We weren't really getting any found footage films yet, so I do think that is impressive, and I guess I'll give it credit for being different and experimental. But also, I think it actually just looks good. Like, it reminds me of stuff like Angst and I Stand Alone, and sort of those gritty, like voyeuristic, like spending a lot of time with the killer, and it gives like the same emotions and vibes. But maybe I think in hindsight, it's probably supposed to be more funny than I probably gave it credit for while watching it.
It's honestly, but the comedy it's not punchline comedy. It's more situational comedy. But I find the comedic elements work the best in the editing. Like, there's a funny ass scene where, like, so when the first crew member gets killed, they're kind of, the one dude's talking to the camera after, and he's like, "Fuck, man." He's like, "Yo, he just died," and shit like that. And when the second guy dies, when he gets dead, it instantly goes to that. Reverts back to that scene, and now he's talking about him again. But that's where the comedy comes in the editing and stuff. Like, that shit was funny as hell. It's subtle, but that's where the comedy is. It's not. There's no like real punchline. There's no real funny lines in this. It's like I said. It's all situational. It's all editing.
Yeah.
It's all editing.
Like,
it's dude. Like,
it's the fact that they're talking so casually with like dead bodies like behind them.
Well, a great scene is towards the third act when the river is all dried up and shit like that, and he's way up on the fucking ledge, and he's screaming down to him. He's like, "I can see the fucking body still." He's fucking screaming at him. I'm just like, dude. And they're fucking, there's like all these bones and shit, and they're looking up going, "Fuck."
And then, dude, the fucking racist ass scene with the black dude and taking his pants off and shit. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Dude, there's so much fucking like bigotry in this film, which is obviously there's satire in it. But like when he's talking about it, he's like, I buried two Arabs over here and fucking, and then he kills this black guy. But what he says about it is so bad. He's like, "What kind of fucking people hire a black guy? Now you can't even see him at nighttime." And I'm like, "Oh my
that's
God.
Unfair. It's unfair.
It's unfair.
That I can't kill this guy." like he, and then he said, then he's saying about like the whole like they have sex with animals and like don't touch him, you might get the AIDS and stuff like that.
But then after they talk about like the AIDS and shit, they're like, "Oh, let's see if the rumors are true. Let's undo his pants. Let's see if he's hung," and then they do it, and he's like, "Oh wow, he's got a big penis." I'm like, "What the fuck? This is ridiculous."
It's just so weird, but it actually kind of fits. Like that guy seems racist to me without even.
But I mean, read from the beginning of the movie when he's talking about, which actually plays into a pretty funny scene later on in the movie where he actually quizzes the crew about the weights that you use on certain people. Yeah. So in the beginning of the movie, he's talking about like children use about half the weight, and he's like, for children and midgets. Double the weight of the children. Yeah, he literally says midgets.
Yeah, it's and you're thinking like, "Yo, this guy actually killed a midget before." Like, that's pretty rare. It's like a pretty rare fucking feat right there.
Weighing down their body.
But that's the crazy thing, man, because like we learned through the film that this guy has no filter. He just kills everybody. Like he's killed a couple children, but he's like midgets and, obviously all different races, old people. He doesn't discriminate when it comes to actually killing. It's ridiculous.
I love how he's scientific about it too. He's like, well, you do this for the children because their bones are less stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, it's pretty funny. One thing I like about this movie though, it's quite obviously shot guerrilla style. Like there's a scene in a bar where you can see the guy behind him and he's like sitting there smoking, but he keeps looking back at the camera like, what the fuck are these guys filming right now? And like this happens over and like it's about a 5-minute scene too. Completely guerrilla shot. It comes off feeling very authentic. Yeah.
The like steel mill place that they go to with the shootout thing. Like that's a cool location, man.
Yeah. And that's a weird scene that they end up having a shootout or they end up killing like another film crew. It's so fucking bizarre too, man.
Wait, what? Another film crew?
Yeah, they run into another film crew doing their own documentary and they kill them in the warehouse at the end.
Dude, they end up shooting like 3 people from another film crew.
Yeah.
And then when they go back to that location, all their bodies are still there, all covered in debris and shit like that.
I think I missed the part that it was another film
crew.
Dude,
it's like a fucking 10-minute scene where they run into another film crew and they end up shooting all the guys.
They were filming their own serial killer or what?
Yeah, and he sneaks up behind the other guy, takes him out.
Yeah. That's how
I thought that was the guy that they were chasing.
That's how one of the other crew members got killed too. That's fucked up.
Jesus Christ.
That seems fucked up.
Another thing about this movie, I think like maybe the reason that I was watching it kind of wrong was I had always saw this movie pop up on like most disturbing list and like with movies, like Martyrs and shit like that, where you would just see the sick, disturbing, most messed up movies. This would always be on those lists. So I just expected it to be like more.
It does have an NC-17 rating. I mean, this movie objectively is very, very violent. Like it's super, like there's a great montage scene at the beginning of the film where, it's actually really well edited too, man. He's fucking around with these kids. They've got this little fucking dart gun or whatever. And he's kind of playing with them. He's shooting them and stuff like that. And then he goes to shoot. And then it cuts into the real montage of him blasting out fucking people. I'm like, oh God. And he kills like 8 people in that scene. It's crazy. So that's pretty cool. But one of the scenes that really got to me in the film is this random scene where they go up into this fucking apartment and they're almost like filming a porno. Like he's basically raping this woman. And like he's like fucking this, kind of heavier set woman and shit like that. And her boyfriend or whatever it is, the crew member's got a gun to the fucking head of this dude and he's buck naked and shit like that.
They all grape her. The whole film crew. Yeah,
they all do. And then, but then right when it finishes, the way they edit it, they go from like that scene to like pure carnage death. Like she's covered in guts. He's dead in the fucking sink area. I'm like, oh my God, like that's pretty violent and pretty visceral. Like it's very vivid.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you like, we just kind of missed the whole kill scene, but you don't need the kill scene because the carnage that's shown after the fact is so poignant. And it's just like, oh my God, dude, like it hits you so fucking hard that they just raped this woman and did all this crazy shit. And you're like, holy fuck, you totally didn't need to see the actual killings because it's like what they show at the end of it is just brutal. But I can see, I mean, honestly, man, this movie has a lot of kills in it. Like I would actually like to keep track of the body count in this movie is fucking nuts. There's got to be at least 30 kills in this movie. It's crazy.
I mean, it's very casual. Just very casual about killing people.
But that's what makes it kind of like work on the level of disturbing is that it's literally a dude going around killing at straight random. Like he just has no filter. Like he's not a Bundy. Like he has a specific type, yeah, man. Like this one is just, it's unhinged, man. It's such an unhinged movie. But it's like, it's comical in the sense that, I feel like there is relief in the in the comedy in it too, though. But, as for disturbing, like I said, I mean, I get it. I honestly, personally get why people would put this into that category. If you actually analyze what the fuck is going on throughout the whole film, it's pretty visceral. It's pretty violent. It's pretty nasty. It's like, the unhinged element of it, man, like rewatching this film, I was like, God damn, dude. I just wish it was shorter. Because there's too many fucking scenes that drag on. And I think it really hurts the overall product. And I honestly don't really like the third act in this film that much. Like once he goes to the boxing ring and gets all fucked up.
Agree. The third act.
I like the third act, but I don't like the transition into the third act.
Well, the transition's stupid because he goes to the fucking boxing ring, he gets knocked out, he gets all fucked up, and that scene in the hospital goes on for way too long.
Exactly. That's my biggest complaint about this movie. They should just chop off that like 10.
It's crazy too when you think about it, because this is like supposed to be like the hard hitting end of the movie, and it goes on, and then there's like 8 minutes left.
It really brings the pacing, it brings the intensity, the energy down, and that's like really where I struggle. It feels like you hit a wall. I think it did recover, and I do like the way it ends. I think that last shot's great.
Yeah,
but that's my biggest complaint about this movie. That
it's kind of like one of those "what goes around comes around" thing, right? Like they just, you're going to be unhinged and do all this shit in your own reality. And then it's going to come full circle on you. I mean, look what happens, man. It's crazy. Off it too.
Like you had a chance to walk away and you just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I think that they're so deep into it, you can't get away. The crew can't get away. And plus, they also think that they got a lot of hot shit. Like he basically says, like you can never have enough footage. Yeah. They actually say that in the movie, which actually plays a big part in the narrative. It plays a big part in the narrative because they literally can't fucking stop filming, because the more shit you have, the better your product's going to be, kind of thing, right? So, I mean, that ultimately was what
it's also
their demise
just like
was.
the addiction of the experience,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a movie that I'm not super high on it right now. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was cool. But I do think that maybe a rewatch would help that, because kind of seeing it through like a lens after knowing what it is, because I didn't really know what it was going into it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think now understanding that it's more satirical and it's, more comedic than I probably thought watching it for the first. Because now when we're talking about it, these scenes definitely sound funny, but I don't remember feeling that way while watching. So yeah, I think like a rewatch would probably be good for me with this one, but I'll wait a while.
Going into it the first time, like I expected to love it, like on paper with its theme.
Yeah, I did too.
Especially considering the movies that it seems to inspired, like Natural Born Killers, my all-time favorite movie. And I thought like a rewatch might help, and I was kind of the same on it. I do really like the lead. I actually think he's pretty funny, in a dry humor sense way. He performs well as a sociopath. Despite his humor, he's still cold. So I appreciated that a little bit more perhaps on rewatch. And I like the poetic moments in the film too that kind of give it that little artsy flair. Like he's a sociopath, but he still kind of has this artistic side to him.
He's still willing to like console the director when, the sound guy gets killed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I take that. It's funny to me because I look at him being like, I'm just doing this because this is what normal unsociopath people do. It's like,
right.
It's almost comical to me in that sense. Cause like, I've seen this movie a couple times and like, you do see it differently. Like this time, I probably didn't think that the first time I watched it. Right. But watching this, I'm like, oh man, this guy's totally unhinged. He doesn't really give a shit. He's just like, this is what normal people would do when you lose someone you love. Right. I'll console you right now, but he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't fucking care. So, but
I also think it has some pacing issues. I think it's kind of a cool.
It's the biggest problem with the movie,
in a way, because it was written and like edited and directed by these three guys, the main guy and then part of the crew. So in a way, you can kind of see it as a buddy movie, in a funny way. But I think it's just missing some sort of spark or that special element that usually I enjoy with these types of serial killer or violent movies. I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm kind of in the middle, but yeah, it's cool.
I really truly think that if this movie was 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes shorter, it would work a lot better. If you tighten up this and you have these scenes and edit them the way they are, but just tighten up everything, I think it would flow so much better. It would have that effect on the viewer. I think it would just work a lot better, because you sit there And when you have multiple scenes that drag themselves out for no reason, like you did, like there's so many scenes that just don't need to be there. Like that hospital scene is painful, dude. It's very painful. Like I get they're trying to go for some comedy shit with like literally no pun intended again, but the old guy's talking about how he's shitting himself in the bed and stuff. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on. I'm like, fuck, man, come on. This is like, this is the third act right now. This is crazy.
That comedy is kind of alien from the rest of the movie too.
Yeah.
It's not the same type of comedy. That's just more of like gross, like almost immature humor where.
But his character is like, he's almost hard to read at times too, because there's a scene where someone gets fucking killed with a flute. And like he's pretty broken up about it, but like it seems out of character though too, because obviously he's broken up about it, but who it is, I don't want to ruin it, but like it's like it's when he walks in there and there's a fucking flute sticking out of her back. I'm like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. It's I actually laughed out loud again at that. I'm like, it's so
I thought it was like upper ass or something.
Might as well have been. It's so stupid, man. Fucking flute. But like he reacts to it like he's kind of human, right? Like he's actually upset, and he's so upset at one point that he actually pukes. And I felt like the character, there was a flaw in the script there. Like honestly, dude, this guy's walking around killing people at will. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He's eating mussels after like slaughtering 20 people, and now he's that fucking broken up. I'm like, I don't buy into it. So I think there was a little bit of problems within the narrative with the main character a little bit, because he's quite clearly the most nihilistic fucking sociopathic character you've ever seen in your life. Like this dude just gives no fucks. He doesn't give any fucks. So I don't know. I feel like this is a movie that would definitely benefit from watching a couple different times.
Yeah.
Maybe not so close together, Mason.
Maybe.
The last time I watched this movie was, oh shit, dude, probably over 10 years ago. So it'd been a while since I'd seen it.
Yeah, it was about 4 years since my first watch.
But it was weird though, because I was watching it and it was like, I remembered everything about this movie. It's so weird. Like it was nothing really surprised me about it. I actually kind of a little bit forgot about the whole kind of like pouring grape scene. I didn't really, and I forgot like that. Is this a Christmas movie? Because there's a Christmas scene.
Technically.
I actually laughed out loud. I wrote in my notes. I'm like, is this a Christmas scene or a Christmas movie? But
next Christmas list is just getting more stacked.
Yep. There you go. I like one scene in the film I actually really do like is when he makes the dead baby boy drink. And with the olives like rising to the top, it's like a big metaphor for like, weighing down the dead bodies.
They're like racing.
They're racing with the bodies floating back up, which is the olives. That shit's fucking ridiculous, man. That's pretty fun though. But yeah. I don't know. I like this film. I was a little, I think I've come down on it, to be honest. I think I liked it a lot more. I just, again, watching it with that critical eye is like, this one has major pacing issues and it really brings it down. It really, really brings it down. I just, fuck, man. 96 minutes is just way too fucking long for this. Way too long. So,
excuse me. Ratings?
Yeah.
All right. JP, what do you give it?
Yes, after considering Man Bites Dog quite a bit, I think that it's not great, but it's good. I think that watching it, if you do watch it with the eyes of 1992, because I think that I feel like I missed that. I normally am very aware of that, but for some reason I really wasn't putting it in perspective. So there's that. But I'm gonna come in at a 7. I think 7's good.
All right, Mason.
Before I give my rating, I wrote down a few fun facts, I suppose, about the movie that I read, including actor Steve Buscemi picked it as part of his top 10 Criterion releases.
Buscemi? Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, Buscemi.
Honestly, yeah. I think that's why I watched it.
Buscemi.
I think that's why I watched it the first time, because I put it on my list from the Criterion Challenge. I bet you that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was the category.
Tarantino was also a big fan. I read a story about how he saw it at Cannes in 1992, and I read this story about how he tried to attend a second showing, but he couldn't get past the security guard, and Tarantino like swung at the security guard, and he ended up getting tackled by like 4 different guards. And it's also noted as an influence to Natural Born Killers. So, but Tarantino just wrote it. The Natural Born Killers is really an Oliver Stone thing. So, but anyway, and then it was also featured in the famous 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. And also interesting, it came out the same year as The Real World, MTV's The Real World.
Dude, World was 92?
92, brother.
God damn.
Oh, I thought that was like 99.
Dude, I still watch The Challenge, which is literally like the all-star show from those basically Real World Road Rules seasons.
I've never seen that before, but I watched The Real World back in the day, and that shit was fun.
Oh yeah, Real World was cool. I like The Challenge.
It was so different because there was no like reality type TV and shit like that. It was such a new
it was like the first
right?
shit to do with that. Yeah. And see, that's the problem with reality TV now, is they're so scared of people basically ruining their lives by saying something racist or sexist or homophobic or something. Yeah. Where back in the day, we actually that's how a lot of us even like learned about like different cultures and stuff, was through reality TV. Because there might be some ignorant people on there, but that's where you have those conversations and people learn about where if you just tried to hide from it all the time and pretend it doesn't exist, or basically crucify anybody that is like that, I think it's better to try to teach and learn, than just to basically fucking cancel everybody.
Fucking preach that shit, man. Preach it. Tell them.
And my rating is a solid 6 out of 10. It's all right.
A solid 6. Tyler, what do you give it?
Yeah, so I definitely came up on this for my first watch. I don't remember what I didn't like about it, but I just probably was not in the correct cinematic mindset at the time, or maybe it was just too alien to me at the time. But I did like this a good bit. That big gap that I spoke about, I think, really would make the movie a lot better if it wasn't there. But I still did like this very much this time. I would give this a strong 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm at an 8. I'm definitely at the highest. I just think it would be a lot better, a lot more higher for me if they would just have a proper edit on this. I really do like the scene in the film where he's talking about big fish and small fish. It just gets into the psyche of him, but it's like he's got a good point though, man. You don't kill, the big fish because it makes headlines and people notice that shit, man. If you want to be who you are and make your, continue to be who you are.
Be a killer.
You fucking you kill off the small fish, right? Because nobody gives a fuck about that. It's a great commentary actually, but it's just like little things in the film like that where some of the dialogue
and average half piners out here.
Exactly. And it's just small little doses of the film where I think are really effective dialogue wise and stuff like that. But yeah, it really needs an edit. It needs an edit. It's got to be about 15, 20 minutes shorter. But
I do love the look of, like, this is an example of like a film where I think the grain, at least in the HBO Max transfer, like the grain really worked for the film for me.
It looks really good. Like, honestly, watching this like on an 80-inch TV DVD, like I don't watch a lot of DVDs anymore, but like it looked really fucking good. Like Criterion is known for doing pretty good DVD transfers and shit like that, but like maybe it's the black and white, but everything looked clear as fuck. It sounded good. Like it's a good release. It's a good release.
The HD version is pretty clear as well.
Yeah. I would actually like to see what it looked like.
And the grain really adds to it. Where normally I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Man Bites Dog from 1992.
42 shots.
Moving along into another 1992 film called GhostWatch. Yeah, I was late to the fucking party on this one, man.
Was that? Well, dude, I mean, the history of the movie is like so interesting. Anyway, like, when it aired to then later like home video stuff, it really didn't have any widespread like notoriety in the US. Like there was
none at all.
It didn't run on our cable stations or
Nope.
on any TV stations. It was primarily like a British thing until a few people had mentioned it, and then Shudder actually picked it up for streaming years ago. And I remember it was a big deal because that thing was hard to like see like on disc or anywhere like legally. So I remember that being a pretty big deal. And then that's when I really first learned about it and like heard the story behind it. And then I watched it and I was like, that was pretty good. So this is, I think, the third time that I've watched it since then. And I've, you know, spoiler alert, I've come up on it like each time.
So I knew about GhostWatch for a lot of years. I just didn't have the abilities to actually watch it. So I always feel like this was kind of like a blind spot for me, but I ended up picking up the DVD about a year and a half ago or whatever. And of course it gets that fancy fucking Blu-ray release from.
Did you ever grab that Blu-ray?
I did. Yeah. That's what I watched again.
Yeah.
So I did watch this movie for the first time about like a year and a half ago. And absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And just kept thinking to myself, this is exactly how you do found footage movies because it feels so fucking authentic. I'm watching this shit going right from the start, man. The guy that's the presenter, I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. It feels
he was like
real.
an actual, like he was like the actual news anchor or something from that channel, right?
Yeah. And like
so they actually got like the people that normally would be on that channel.
But that's what worked about it because he was just doing what he does. He's anchoring the fucking show.
Yeah.
And that it was so authentic feeling. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like,
so two things of note, like watching it this time, Late Night with the Devil really feels like this to me. And the other WNUF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think both of those were influenced by this.
WNUF is just next level shit, man. It's crazy. So authentic.
Yeah, it was the Late Night with the Devil was something that also came up right to the front of my mind when I was watching it this time. And I actually did shine some light on something we talked about earlier, where I think maybe Late Night with the Devil would actually be better if you didn't have the background scenes.
Yeah.
Behind the stage and just got
exactly.
That's with the whole show, because I think that was a strength of this movie. And if you saw like them sitting around in the back, I don't know. I guess it's a different type of movie and they're doing different things, where maybe it works better in Late Night with the Devil, but that would not have added to this film at all.
This is like such a important, like groundbreaking type of movie too. This is Blair Witch before Blair Witch, essentially. You know what I mean? Like they sold this. Well, they didn't actually. And I learned that through research this time watching it.
No, they broadcasted this, man. And like,
yeah,
I think your comparison, I think your comparison is that Blair Witch was marketed as like a real film, where when GhostWatch aired on Halloween back in 1992, people thought it was fucking real.
Yeah, but they didn't necessarily bill it as that. In fact, they actually said that this is not real.
Yeah,
but back in the 90s,
oh, really?
Yeah. And even so, the number that they would put on screen to call in, that's their regular number that they used all the time on their regular broadcasts.
Yeah.
And so people were calling in, and on the tape, it said, like, just so you guys are aware, this is a work of fiction. It's a movie. On the line, but apparently they got flooded with like over 1 million calls or something, and like the voice messaging system like broke, so it wasn't even playing that message anymore. And also in the 90s, you got to figure certain people did not catch things right at the very beginning all the time. You couldn't rewind or anything, so some people just popped this on like into it, and then other people called their friends and told them like, yo, this shit on TV is crazy.
Already in progress.
Yeah. So nobody knew that it was fake. So it was a total like War of the Worlds thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought watching this. I was like, this is like
100%.
This is the closest you probably could ever get to a modern World of the World.
Dude, this shit like it was like a fucking
Worlds, Jesus.
It blew the fuck up, man. Like, it's so crazy how many people legitimately thought this shit was for real. It's pretty fucking wild, man.
Meanwhile, in the US, nobody fucking knew about this thing back then.
But then again, it would never be broadcasted, right? Because this was a BBC thing in England in 1992. Like, you're not going to see it.
But it's just so interesting how separated the world was back then.
Yeah.
Because now, if something happened like this, you would know about it instantly, Yeah. But back then, like, just this, small section of the world, like, had this, like, big phenomena with this movie that was, like, a big deal, and nobody else knew it even happened.
It is pretty fucking mind-blowing, though. Like, when Blair Witch came out in 99, like, the marketing on that was, next level type shit. It had people convinced it was fucking real. Like, we all know the story, man. It's just, it'll never be duplicated. But, it's crazy to think it's only 7 years removed from this. And this was a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah, like, both of them.
Never gets talked about.
Both of them really kind of had like a similar reaction in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really cool, but it also makes this GhostWatch movie even more cool. Just knowing that stuff and knowing about like the production and things and how, and like where you were saying too, how it feels so real. Like, people aren't saying their lines perfectly, and people are, saying it wrong and correcting themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah,
just like
which is actually a good thing.
Dialogue.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to do that. Yeah.
And I just like, even into the actual movie, it's basically like a poltergeist. I think it's based on the same one as the Enfield poltergeist, which is the Conjuring 2, I think, is the most notable movie with that story.
Mm-hmm.
But I love, like, even the fact that, like, the kids, like, heard noise and asked the mom, like, what's that? And she's like, oh, it's just the pipes. So they start calling the thing pipes. It's just stuff like that feels so natural. Like, that's what a kid would probably do. Like, think the mom was like, oh, it's pipe. It's like the person pipes. But she just means it's the pipes in the house.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about this movie? Like, watching it again, and I'm like, man, I didn't really realize the first time I was watching it, but there's not a lot of like things that are really going on until like the last half an hour of the film, but it's so effective in what it's doing. There's not like that much horror stuff, but it's drawing you in so much because the narrative is so perfectly paced. And like where it ends up going, it's such a great payoff for what they did in the first hour. But there's
same thing that the Blair Witch does, where watching it, you're like, think you saw something, but you're not quite sure. Yeah. And you're just constantly like, oh, I think I saw something, Well,
there's that great scene where someone calls in and like, I think I saw something over here. And
that's
I could have sworn they went back to that at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
pretty cool
to happen, but they didn't. I was having like the Mandela effect or something.
But the cool thing is there actually was someone there in the actual film.
Yeah,
they did put that guy in scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's the one part where I thought somebody was going to call in and say, like, "Oh, do you see that shit?" That, like, I think it's meant for you to obviously see. Yeah. But yeah, I wish I would have remembered that's what happens in that scene, because I would have been looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's just such a cool movie, man. It really is. And it's actually a good movie too. Like, I think
part of the nothing happening till like really like the last half hour or two.
But you don't even notice it. Like I said though, like nothing's really happening in per se like horror.
But that's how you would expect
it's a slow build up.
Go. Yeah, and this is how you'd expect that to actually go if you were watching.
Exactly.
If it just started getting wacky.
It is because it is an investigative.
Like, this is stupid.
It's an investigative purpose, right? So you have like you have like this reporter that's inside the house and she's dealing with the family and stuff like that, and then you got this the actual TV angle of the psychologist and figuring out like it bounces back and forth to that, but it's so interesting, right? Because they're just figuring out things or get into the psychology of the paranormal and stuff like that, and I think it works really well, man. One thing I love about this movie is like, I love the kid's room. She's got the MC Hammer poster on there on the wall. It's fucking awesome. It's so 1992. It's amazing. So good, man.
Yeah. But even like when you start getting in like the backstories of like the house and stuff, that shit's cool. Creepy.
Dude, this shit gets really dark in the third. Like, the reveals of like why the shit is happening and stuff, like what exactly is going on. is really kind of crazy. And you know what I realized?
Like the cats eating the dude's face and
so,
stuff.
So, dude, when they were talking about like hearing, like, you know, the cats and stuff like that in the walls and blah, 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 it just instantly had this Poe feel to it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Totally agree. Like, it's got to be influenced by Poe, man. Like the black cat type thing, right? So I thought that was really cool, actually. But yeah, no, this one turns really, really fucking dark. It's crazy. But
yeah, and I could see people watching this, and because I've heard it too. People watch it, it has a little bit of hype, and then they're like, oh, it was kind of boring. Like, not much happens. But it's, again, like, the similar with the Blair Witch. Like, you have to, like, really put yourself there and, like, let yourself be, like, vulnerable to like what it's trying to do.
Yeah, both times I watched this, I know I watched it in a mindset of like sitting here as if I'm watching this random like Halloween program on TV with these anchors that I'm used to seeing. These are like this. I'm not watching this at the movie theater.
That's my biggest complaint with this movie, man. I don't have really any complaints. I think this movie is paced really well. It's acted well. I love the narrative. I love the way the narrative is constructed. It's slow. It's perfectly paced, in my opinion, because the build up to the payoff is fantastic. Everything about this movie is phenomenal to me. The one thing I feel like they totally missed the ball on, this movie is set on Halloween. There's no Halloween aesthetic at all.
Halloween aesthetic.
There's not even a pumpkin in the movie. There's nothing to do with Halloween. If they had a Halloween aesthetic to the film, this
even just a little bit,
bona fide 10 out of 10. Like it would have been so well.
That's a good point that I didn't really think about.
Yeah. Because it literally tells you it's set on Halloween, but there's no aesthetic to it. And it doesn't feel like it because you actually have to think about it. By the time you get to the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, this was set on Halloween, wasn't it? That's kind of a disappointment because it doesn't showcase it.
It's also like, it's so hard to explain. Like, you guys probably don't know, and I don't either, like a ton of people that are in like the 16, 17, 18 age range. But like, I just think it would be so hard for them to wrap their head around like the time period of this, because it was such a different era where, and it's nostalgic to me also with stuff like WNUF, the era of like putting on a show for holidays on like TV stations and like making it like a big, like around the clock type of event that just doesn't exist really anymore. And I think that's what's so cool about this. Is like, it's a Halloween special where they're like, oh, we're going to go inside like a haunted house and stuff like that. And I'm just like, this feels so right, because we grew up in the era where TV stations did do that. And it was an important thing. And if you missed it, you never saw it again and stuff like that. And
not for a year.
Yeah, well, sometimes never even ever, you know, some stuff like Monster Vision, if you missed that, you missed it, you know, it was different.
I feel like the British were on point with this shit. Like, you know, recently, the BBC, they released those, you know, the Christmas, was the Ghost Stories for Christmas sets.
Yeah. And they were really good at like catering to the event.
Exactly. So they would show these, you know, these short movies on, you know, Christmas Eve and stuff. They weren't necessarily Christmas films, but they did this for like multiple years in the 70s and revamped in like the 2000s and stuff like that. But we finally got these things released. But like that's an event thing that they were doing. Why did we never have this in North America? Like, I mean, we had the movie of the week on Disney or whatever. Like, it was never.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, we had some stuff. I remember as a kid, like certain stations doing certain things. Like you would see, like I remember AMC used to do all kind of shit. Like one night they did like a sequel-a-thon or
something. They would do Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. I mean, I remember doing like even the Halloween.
But even,
they would do those.
Even like this one that I'm remembering, it had like Children of the Corn 2, and like it was like all part 2s, but it was like.
But I'm talking about original stuff. Like Ghost Stories for Christmas was fucking, you know, Christmas Eve, and it was a brand new episode, and they did one a year for like a bunch. Like, that's kind of fucking cool.
Yeah,
it's
like
awesome.
Like Joe Bob used to do some stuff like for like the Super Bowl or like, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And you know, some of them maybe like Elvira's out there, and there were some other type of shows that would do like introductions to the movies and stuff like that to sort of celebrate like Halloween and shit or whatever. But yeah, we didn't do it as hardcore for sure, I don't think.
Yeah.
No.
Man, one thing about this movie I know is unintentionally funny, but is when the mom's talking about like the developing room and she calls it the glory hole. I mean, honestly, dude, every time she said glory hole in the movie, I literally was wiping tears away off my face. I can't take that serious, bro. Because of glory hole
or something. Yeah, that was weird.
It's fucking so weird.
I don't think glory hole means the same thing in the UK as it means here.
It's definitely got a much more interesting meaning over here.
Yeah.
But
their accents and vernacular in general can be hilarious when it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Man, one scene I love, man, is like the scene where like you hear the voices on the tape and shit like that, the possession voices. There's something about that scene, man. It's just like haunting to me. It works so well. It just feels so authentic too. I'm like, wow. And like I feel like a scene like that could kind of bring you out of the film. Like if it doesn't work properly, because we're already immersed in this film that feels so real, that could be a point that could kind of break your reality of what you're already immersed in. But it comes off feeling so fucking well or so good. I feel like that voice and like the way they hold the way they did it was just fantastic, man. Feels very authentic. So I love that scene. Yeah.
One thing I will say
Yes.
be a little critical about this movie. There is an element where that I don't really care for, where they made it like a global thing, the whole ghost in the machine part. I don't really like that, and I think it would have been better if they just kept it more contained to the house.
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get
by
that completely.
point, I think that it's kind of like cats
I
out
think
of
it would
the
have been
bag that this
scarier.
isn't real.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If they were promoting it as that it's a fake movie, but if I was watching this, like watching it through that lens, if I'm watching this on my couch in 1992, it's a special. I don't know that it's fake, anything like that. They're completely playing it straight. I'm gonna know it's fake by that point. But you could really sell me, especially 30-something years ago, that there's some really sadistic shit going on in this woman's house. Especially after they do that little shot where you see the thing that that they don't. I thought that they brought that up. I was kind of waiting for that to happen too, but I guess that's pretty cool how they just show you something that the audience definitely meant to see, but they don't actually confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that just would have been better to leave it in the house, leave it completely in the house.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see that argument for sure. Yeah.
I really like just the dialogue between the psychologist and the scientists, the non-believer and the believer, I guess, because I tend to believe in paranormal activity rather than dismiss it as far as, needing scientific proof, because it's something that you can kind of just feel. And I like the quote, "The paranormal is no more scary than the weather," and how we can kind of seek to understand it in the same way we understand the weather.
Yeah, you need that angle. You have to have the guy that doesn't believe. You got to have that shit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and it works perfectly for the film. So
I like how the psychiatrist too has in the moment where she kind of gets caught. And you can see her panicking, and she plays it off really well. Where they're put in the spot where like they look like an idiot. They've been exposed, but they have to stick to their convictions and what they've been saying all night. And this little thing doesn't prove it. It's like, and that's something like if you were watching at home, you'd be like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah. They did that shot so well when they're like, okay, turn the camera this way and this way back again. And to see that little girl, banging on the wall, and it's like, oh shit. And that was a good scene.
That's one thing about the kids though, too. I think they do a really good job of like, keeping it real. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like there's no real faults in this film with selling the characters. And, we we ultimately know it's fake, but like it comes off feeling so real, so authentic, man. There's like the production in this film, it like visually looks super low budget, but man, they put a lot of effort into actually, executing, the narrative, right? You know what I mean? Like the fucking dialogues and everything that's happening in this film feels so correct to me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It just feels so on point. I mean, it's tough when you're working with kids and stuff because it can be a little bit messy in that aspect. But honestly, man, this is how you do found footage movies. This is how you do it. Production wise, it's fantastic. It's on.
It did just look like a TV special.
Yeah.
There's nothing out of the ordinary about it.
But they present it so well. Like I said, right from the opening scene where the broadcast or the dude is like, giving his monologue and stuff, and it's like, fuck, like. In 1992, there was no way you were looking at this going, this isn't fucking real. There's no way.
Yeah.
It just felt so real. Like it's
that's why I'm surprised that the advertisement is not as a real movie. And that's honestly why I thought they tried to do a global thing, because they wanted to maybe like feel like the audience was having these weird occurrences that were happening to people calling in, and maybe make it more of an interactive thing where people get home, get scared of what they're watching, and then their light flickers and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's why they were saying they performed a giant seance.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm house sitting for a friend right now, and she's got a nearly 18-year-old cat.
God damn.
This cat. And it was funny. Overnight, he was howling, and it kind of woke me up.
I had a cat that used to do that.
Howling? What is this?
Howling in this movie, when.
Yeah.
That's some post shit right there. That's like the cat in the wall.
He would want attention, and he'd go somewhere in the house and just go,
that's exactly how he sounds.
It's crazy, man, because I have a dog that's pushing 18 right now, or 17.
Yeah, this cat was 11 when I got him, and he would go like somewhere in the house when he wanted attention and just like meow.
Actually,
Like, we thought he was hurt. When he first started doing it, we thought he was hurt because we didn't know him. And like you run up to him and he just stopped. We're like, wow, you just do this because you want attention.
Cats are fickle, man.
And I saw a fucking stupid ass review on this film. I didn't even read past it, but he's like, why the fuck is this movie in full screen? And I'm like, because it was made for fucking TV in 1992. It wasn't shot in widescreen. It was actually made in 4:3. I'm like, fucking idiots. Like, people just miss things like that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
People are just not that smart.
It was a review on, I think it was when the second Sight box set came out, and this guy's like, what the fuck? It's on widescreen? I'm like, fuck, you're an idiot. Like, stop. Like,
brother.
Fucking idiot.
Yep. A lot of dumbasses. I don't have much more. Do you guys?
I mean, I don't want to.
There's almost so much. There's only so much you can say about it. It's a
pretty simple movie.
It's really good.
It's a very simple movie, and like, I mean, if you haven't seen it, I mean, basically, what we could talk, just spoil everything in the third act. I mean, come on. I mean, for me, this has turned into one of my favorite movies, man. I love this movie. It is so authentic. I just really fucking, if it just had one pumpkin in it, man, come on, give me something fucking orange. Something.
If this was made in the U.S., it definitely would have.
Yeah.
We go harder than other countries.
That's true.
Well, I mean, it is true. It is true because, like, we've never seen a Halloween film from Australia before because they don't celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
What a bunch of losers.
Yeah. So that's why there's no Halloween films from Australia, kind of thing. They do in the UK. So I'm a little bit confused on.
I don't think they go as hard though, bro.
Yeah. I don't think it's as like
do they carve pumpkins in the UK? I don't even know if they do or not.
Assume so. Like around my, like when I'm delivery man, like Halloween's so cool. There's certain streets where the entire block of like 50 houses has full house decorations. Like it's crazy to go through. I love it. People get into their shit around here like no tomorrow, man. But yeah, GhostWatch. Who went first? Was that JP?
Yeah.
And then, so Mason, what do you give this one?
I'd give it a nice 8.5 out of 10. I'm sure more Halloween aesthetic would put it in the 9s. Yeah, it's for as engaging it is. I also found it to be like very relaxing. Like it's just like watching a TV show, and then that relaxation is just surmounted by the incredible final act that really earns it. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Love the movie. It's a top 10 of 1992 contender for sure for me.
Right. I'm at a 9.5 on this one. Like I said, it would be a 10 for me if it just had that Halloween aesthetic. I just feel like it's kind of a miss in the film. But narrative wise, just even the editing is really good in this film, but the acting, everything sells itself the way it should be. It's almost perfect to me. Just give me a pumpkin, man. Just one pumpkin would have given me a 10. So it's fantastic. I love this movie. Tyler, nice titties.
Are we seeing some Tyler titties right now?
I will.
That's totally
what
titties.
The fuck's going on?
Oh my god.
Bro,
dude, look at those rock hard nibbles, man. What the fuck
I'm thirsty.
Dude.
He can't. Is he doing this purposely?
I don't think so, bro. I don't think he has.
Oh, he's muted too. So
yeah,
fucking idea.
What an idiot! He's probably ordering dinner or something.
What a cool guy.
I'll go since he's busy. Yeah, GhostWatch, man. I think it gets better with every viewing. This is a movie that I know. I think Dave Z is a pretty big fan of this one, which is why I asked him to actually be on this show because he is a big found footage fan. So
yeah, exactly.
Shout out Dave Z.
Has he seen Man Bites Dog before? Do you know?
I don't know. But glad to have Mason here as well. Not saying that Mason sucks or anything.
No, absolutely not.
But yeah, I think that this movie is super cool, man. And going into like the production of it and like the backstory. First of all, I love TV movies in general, and just like the whole way that they were like event films, and then this one was like such a sneaky movie in the way that it was a movie and not a broadcast. Like the story is just awesome. That alone makes me like the movie, but I also think the movie itself is very effective. If it wasn't, I don't think we would be as interested in the backstory if the movie wasn't good. So I'm coming in at an 8.5, highest I ever been on it. But yeah, I think that it is very good.
How the fuck am I? I thought for sure you guys would be higher than that. It's crazy.
Tyler,
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, well, surprised he's actually that high.
Yeah, that's actually pretty high for him.
I think this was my third view of it as well. I mean, I could see it going higher in rating as I become more and more familiar with it, show more people it. It's a great group watch, I'm sure. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a contender for a top 10 list, I would say.
I mean, if GhostWatch doesn't make mine with a 9.5, all of a sudden, like 92 is like the craziest fucking year ever. It's like 2024.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I feel like I'll probably start my list with an 8, I assume.
There's a lot of heavy hitters in 92. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's at least 10 8s, probably.
I think I already know what your number one is, though.
If you say fucking Candyman. I don't know why everybody thinks Candyman is automatically my number one like that.
Dude, because you used to blow the shit out of that movie, man. Like it had 2 dicks.
I mean, I love Candyman. Who doesn't? But I'm just saying.
Playing a ruse, JP.
I did not. No, I'm dead serious. When I looked at this list, I wasn't like, oh, Candyman's definitely my number one like I do some years. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could be. I do love Candyman. I would be shocked if it wasn't somebody's number one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, man, dude, there's some like Army of Darkness. I know you're not like the highest on that one, but like Dead Alive.
I mean,
I could see Kronos being someone's number one, maybe Tyler's, because he's all fucking, he's all into that elevated.
Like, honestly,
fucking...
I would probably be like surprised if Army of Darkness didn't make my list, dude.
It actually would make your list.
I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Wow, because I know, like, when we first met back in 2012, you weren't a big fan of that movie, so.
Well, I wasn't not a big fan. It's just I like the other two way more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I still have always given like Army of Darkness like 8, I think. I'm pretty sure. Let me look at my last rating of it. Yeah, an 8.
Yeah, you got to pick up that Anti-Lee meat pies, man.
Yeah.
Stuff from 92. So, yeah.
But I guess that is it, right?
Yeah, that is it for Found Footage Volume 3, 1992 show. Essentially. Yeah, good stuff, man. I mean,
are we doing a show next week?
Well, next Sunday's Super Bowl.
Monday?
I mean, we could record on Monday, possibly. I actually have Monday. I actually took Monday off because I'm actually flying to Vancouver on Friday, watching the Leafs and Canucks on Saturday night, which is amazing. And then we're flying home Sunday morning, hosting a Super Bowl party.
Nice.
So we usually I usually take the Monday off for after Super Bowl. So yeah, we could record.
So if we record next week or the week after, the show will remain the same. We will be doing a full moon horror show volume 1, where we will be tackling Netherworld, Seed People, and Bad Channels. And if you notice, those are all 1992 full moon films. And another one that I've already fucking watched in Seed People, Moodz, you fucking dick.
Well, fuck, it's not my fault.
You picked it.
Yeah, well, I'd already watched Dr. Mordred, so wasn't going to pick that one.
There was another one too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's, what did we pick? Demonic Toys, Netherworld, Bad Channels, Seed People.
Dr. Mordred. I feel like there was one more.
Evil Tunes or no?
No,
it's not full moon. No.
Oh, okay.
Seed People, Bad Channels, Netherworld, Demonic Toys. There's got 5 from this year. Was there 6? I don't know. I got 5, but
yeah, there is Trancers 3.
Trancers 3. Yeah, I wasn't looking at my sequel section. Yeah, Trancers 3. Yeah, right. Which, it's okay.
I'm actually surprised you didn't go with Mordred because of old Mr. Combs.
Well, I did what you did. I'd already watched it when we picked it. I literally had already watched it. So
Seed People was the first one I watched. At least it's short. I won't bitch about it too much.
Yeah, I need to get the fucking Blu-ray, man. I can't find a Blu-ray.
And it's funny. I don't own Blu-rays for any of these except for Dr. Mordred. You fuck.
Well, Bad Channels doesn't actually have a Blu-ray, but I just picked up Netherworlds. I own Demonic Toys. I actually have them all, but yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck is up with the Seed People up here. It's like $40. Fuck that. I'm not paying $40 for a full moon movie.
There's a Valentine's Day sale, full moon Valentine's Day sale coming up.
Oh yeah, but that's gonna be too late though.
Yeah, it is.
So.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know what the fuck Tyler did. He just bounced.
Yeah, man. He's fucking outie.
There he is.
What are you doing, bro?
You know what I noticed here, man? So I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this before, but I get the updates like when someone subscribe or follows you on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So the last like fucking 2 months or 3 months, whatever, I get this fucking update. This person
called Chris Robe.
It's every single fucking
dude.
day.
Me too. I've been literally mad about that for years. What? I've been getting it for years.
What? How do we all have the same bot?
Is it a bot?
It's gotta be,
must
dude.
Be.
It's literally
he like follows all of us.
This is
and then he deletes like a day later.
This is 4 times this weekend. He's followed me.
I just thought
4 times this weekend. I just got another one right now. Wow. It's the second time
Does he
today.
just want us
Follows
to
all of
follow
us.
him back?
No, it's only us though. He doesn't follow like anyone else. He just follows like the three
So
of us.
why would you
Parker.
follow and then unfollow?
Dave Parker's probably just like if it's a bot, that would make sense. They would follow Parker too.
But like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, he just followed me too, Chris Corby.
dude, it's got to be a bot, man. That no one's taken the
Yeah,
time
and
to
he's
like
only
unsubscribe and follow all these different people.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, it's been happening to me for literal years.
Okay, so I just
This
noticed
just
in the last
started a
couple
couple
months, but
weeks
it got
ago.
me thinking. I'm like, maybe it's been happening for a long time.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. As soon as you started saying, I instantly was like Chris Robe. Like I didn't even know what you were gonna say.
Dude, that is fucking
That
bizarre.
blew my mind. I thought I was
That's
literally
so-
the only one dealing
Dude,
with
it's
this.
like that was 4 times this weekend already.
It just never occurred to me it was a bot, but yeah, that makes sense.
Oh my god, I've been thinking my letterbox has been glitched for years and just didn't feel like
Okay,
dealing
so
with
it's
it.
probably been happening to me then. Okay, so
I'm about to block this guy. Can you block on Letterboxd?
No, I don't think so.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you
actually.
can.
Oh yeah, you can. I'm definitely blocking this. I'm so tired of that notification.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fucked.
call.
That is fucked.
Damn.
Blocked. But if he's really a listener and he was just nervous,
Oh.
they'll block me.
I gained like 15 followers today.
Wow. Look at
On
you.
what, Letterbox?
Yeah.
I gained,
Well,
I gained like 4. Weird. That's unusual
Any
for me.
today.
It's so funny. I'm following 8 people and I have 982 followers.
you have 900 followers?
In 82, yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. I only have
I don't game any anymore because I don't do my 2 word.
I
I gained a lot
I
since I
only
started
have-
doing this show.
467.
I got
409.
212, but I had like a lot. I started gaining a lot more. So when I started doing this,
Cool.
I got
I
a lot
love
more.
Letterboxd.
yeah,
What's that, Mason?
I got a lot more when I went patron. Shout out Letterboxd patron. Totally worth it.
well, I just like all the stuff I get on Patreon. I like.
Mhm.
I do the pro. What's so special about Patron?
Well, you get to like customize posters.
Oh, I hate that.
I love it.
Tyler always changes the poster. I'm like, stop.
I like everything, literally everything.
And then I like the
just
cool,
get
Oh,
around.
that's how you get that. Okay. I
the
didn't know that.
backdrop on your profile, and then on reviews, the backdrop,
Yeah,
from
the backdrop.
a movie is pretty fucking sweet. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I love changing the posters. I always change it to the original one.
Yeah, me too. Typically, yeah. Is it Patreon only when you can like change the image of the actor?
Oh, I
That's-
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I don't
That's
I,
think
never
I
do,
do.
I don't do that.
There's, I mean, it's not really necessary, but it's fun. You'll see some wacky images.
I'm gonna try.
Change Jack Nicholson's
Change image,
to
yeah.
Shiny.
All right, dudes. That is going to conclude episode 283. Masons, thank you for stopping by once
Thanks
again.
for having me, brothers.
Always a pleasure having you on. And of course, yeah, we'll be back next week with some full moon films. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll check you later.
Peace.
That's all, folks.